just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochiko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochiko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Good show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, November 4th. We got a big show for you today. Obviously, everybody took the weekend off from watching LSU football because they were on their bye week. A lot of chaos happened in the college football world. It was nice to sit back and not be part of that chaos and see it from the other side. LSU now is ramping up their practice schedule, obviously getting back on track because they play this weekend against Alabama, which everybody listening to this show already knows. Big game, playoff game at home in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge at night. Got to deal with a little rain. It's November. You thought Hurricanes season was kind of over with.
Got college game day coming.
College game day will be here live. Be a lot of energy in Baton Rouge. It'll be a top 15 matchup. We're used to seeing top 15 matchups. We'll say that. Gonna be fun. Gonna be energetic. Obviously, some weather out there in the Gulf potentially. Gonna try to dampen the mood. It's not gonna happen. Everybody needs to put on the positivity. Everybody needs to just will this thing to happen. You got storm out there in the Gulf, right before, not quite in the Gulf yet. It's going to go through Cuba and some of these islands. And when it goes over there, positivity is a great thing, and it's going to move away. And it's not going to get strong. And if it does hit, it's going to be some rain, a little wind, and get here a little earlier than anticipated. Saturday is beautiful for the game, so everybody can go out there, have a good time. But we're going to talk about LSU, what we want to see from them this weekend. Some of the things that are happening throughout the team right now. Obviously, Garrett Dellinger went out 2 weeks ago. He had the tightrope surgery, which means he will be out for this week. Brian Kelly has not ruled him out for Florida, which is next week, but we shall see how that recovery goes. A couple other injuries. C.J. Daniels looks like he's going to be back in. He is getting better and better. He feels healthier now than he did 2 weeks ago, so that bodes well for him being back in the starting lineup. And other than that, everyone else seems to be pretty solid as of now. So we're going to talk about previews of the LSU-Alabama games. We're going to talk about what we want to see. We're going to talk about what Alabama's going to do against LSU that's going to make it difficult. But before we get there, we're going to run through the rest of these Heineken headlines. And I should have led with this, but I didn't. But I'm going to talk about it now. There's been 9 weeks in the NFL football season. First 2 weeks of the season couldn't have gone any better for the New Orleans Saints. Average 45 points a game. They are the talk of the town. Everybody's talking about, man, what a great move by Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis to hire over Clint Kubiak. Change the offense. Derek Carr looks like a new quarterback. And all of a sudden, injury goes down. Injury goes down. Injury goes down. And Dennis Allen starts to just lose the locker room. And everybody starts to panic in the fan base. And then 1 loss turns into 2 losses, turns into 5 losses. Now it turns into 7 losses. Not just 7 losses in a row. The last loss came at the hands of the worst team in the NFL, who has been abysmal throughout the course of the entire season. And you lose a game after you rushed for over 150 yards, after you held them to under, I don't even know how many yards, and you scored over 20 points. I think there's no team in the history of the NFL that has lost a game in that fashion until now. Yes?
Over the last 20 years,
here we go.
Teams that outgained their opponents by 150 yards, ran for 150 yards, and won the turnover battle had a record of Kangaroo Court had a combined record of 275-0.
Until now. 275 and 1. And then you add another.
Sometimes you got to pop off and show them.
Look, at some point it's going to happen. At some point it's going to happen. You can check off another box. Derek Carr, another career accolade for him. He has lost to all 31 teams. He lost to 31 teams, and not all 31. He lost to 31 teams in the NFL.
There's 32 teams in the NFL.
I know he's lost to 31 of the 32 teams. I guess of every team that he's not on right now.
Probably never played against the Raiders, if I had to guess, at this point.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So every team but the Raiders.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, at some point he'll lose against the Raiders.
Yep.
And it'll be all 32 teams that he's lost against. So put that on the mantle, because he stinks and he hasn't been good, and he's leaving his receivers out to dry, and he's getting them concussed every other play. That's why we have 0 wide receivers available. And then 4th and 4. You just need a first down. You just need 3 points. We are going to throw a 50-50 ball.
Out of bounds.
Not even out of bounds. Up to a wide receiver who's a 5th-string wide receiver on your team. Not even your number 1 or number 2 or number 3 guy. And we're going to do that as the last play of the game, and then you lose. It doesn't matter. Dennis Allen gets fired. He is no longer the head football coach for the New Orleans Saints. He is replaced by interim head coach Darren Rizzi, which I think is going to be a good move moving forward for the rest of the season. I'm not saying Darren Rizzi is going to get the job and be the head coach for the New Orleans Saints moving forward, but seems like he brings a lot of energy. He's got a lot of respect in the locker room. He's widely respected around the league as one of the better special teams coordinators and coaches in the country. Great motivator, great leader. I think he's very well liked in the locker room. So as far as that goes, I think that's a positive. The Saints are 2-7. Now they are in pole positioning for the NFL draft.
Well, Dennis Allen could have handled this situation one of 2 ways, and it looks like Rizzi handled it the right way.
And this is it, right? Look, obviously, Arthur Smith last year, Atlanta, did not like it. And Dennis Allen was really trying to console him. Hey, listen, Darren Rizzi says, whoa, hold on. Hey, get the fuck out of here, dude. What the fuck? And the guy said, what'd you say to me? Darren said, I'm fucking telling you. Yeah, all right, get out. Move.
I can't hear you with these tiny ears, but I got something to say.
Yeah, Darren Rizzi was in there, right, in the mix. And, I think it's going to be good. If you listen to everybody around the locker room, around the team, they all like Darren Rizzi. So, I think it's a good move for the Saints. I think now it's the beginning of a new regime. It's the beginning of a new era. Darren Ritchie did say in his press conference there's going to be a lot of changes going on around this locker room because things have been going on the same way here for a long, long, long time. That's time for a little bit of a change up. That's a good move.
There was somebody in this particular room that said, if you did lose to the Panthers, hell's
would
coming.
Would not be shocked because there is a bye week. So they have 2 weeks.
Yeah, there was. I mean,
that would be you.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it, man, and it wasn't something that people talked about. Wasn't really anything I heard. I just kind of saw the tea leaves, man.
Been in a couple locker rooms yourself.
It is pretty much, it's pretty much widely known. Like, the Panthers are the worst team in the league.
Yep.
They just had another quarterback switch off of the one that they just got off of weeks ago, right? And so this will be a second start back. He hasn't really won much. They haven't been very good. They got some dudes still out. It don't look good for them. If you go and play that team and you lose to that team after you've already lost 6 straight with the bye week coming right after, so that means the new guy's going to have 2 weeks to kind of put his stuff in and kind of do it, which is better than 3, 4, 5 days, whatever 1 week usually is. It would make a lot of sense. I'm not sure if he wins this game, he's safe for the rest of the regular season, but this exact one, you lose this one, it would make a ton of sense. And then for you to lose it the way you did with the numbers you put up, yes, it was time.
It was time.
It was time.
And it was the right move. And
the only reason I would say,
no, go ahead.
I'm shocked that they would make. I didn't think you were wrong. I'm shocked that the Saints made a move.
But that's why I said maybe he was safe for the rest of the season. But for whatever reason, I just felt like this is the one. Like, and maybe look, if they were playing, I don't know, maybe the Green Bay. If they were playing somebody that's really good, if they were playing Baltimore right now, maybe not. But when you were playing Carolina,
favored by 7 points in the NFL,
favored by 7 points, that's a lot.
Away,
bad team.
Away.
All of that together, I was like, this is how it gets brewed up right here.
Disaster. And by all accounts and by all of the interviews and all of the quotes from the media that's real close to the New Orleans Saints is that the players in the locker room have started to basically talk amongst themselves and amongst those close to the team that Dennis Allen has lost the team. Right? His message is falling on deaf ears. He hasn't really been able to get the guys back to where they needed to be. And that turned into Gail Benson, who's doing what good owners do, right? Gail Benson is reported to having talked to a lot of the players within the locker room and asked them.
That's a wild concept too, by the way.
No
like
doubt.
How was that happening? Do you have to pass by Dennis Allen's office to get get to where Gail Benson is?
Are they going to coffee?
Like,
let's go to coffee down the road.
How are these happening to where was Dennis Allen ever aware hey, why did Kamara just pass by here?
Was it called? Was it in person? Was it on the phone? Was
it?
You know what I mean?
How did these happen? That's a wild idea to think about.
I don't know, but she's
Reaper's here.
The owner of the team. The owner of the team is doing her due diligence, trying to figure out what's actually going on behind the scenes.
Don't give her too much credit.
Decision. Huh?
Don't
Gail
give her.
Benson?
Yeah.
You don't think she's been good?
No.
Gail Benson?
She's been living in Kentucky. That's why DA should have been nervous. If she's here, something's about to happen because she ain't around the building. Mickey Loomis runs this team.
I understand that, but Gail Benson does not live in Kentucky.
Yes, she does.
She lives in Georgia. She's in New Orleans a lot.
Not enough.
A lot. I'm telling you. I know. I do.
You dirty dog.
I do.
Mikey had lunch with her last week. So.
Not me personally, but I know. I know. But anyway, she's doing her thing. Obviously, she's being a businesswoman, but I don't think she's been a bad owner. I think she's been loyal to a fault, and I think that's an issue. Obviously, Mickey Loomis has been there from the beginning, and he has to figure out his own deal. But what they did right now is she went and figured out, okay, listen, this is what's going on. What's going on behind the scenes? I don't want to go based off of what I hear. I want to hear it from the mouth of the players. I hear from the mouths of the players by themselves, and they all said that, hey, his message is not working with us, and he's got to go. And obviously that game ended, and he was gone. See ya. So
if she talked to St. Saunders, if this is a college bowl game, that motherfucker would be called the Cottonelle Doo-Doo Bowl. We just lost the Cottonelle Doo-Doo Bowl.
Which is wild that they just were so vocal. Not just look, Michael Thomas is one, right? But all the other players, like active players, vocal like that, like that's crazy. That's wild to me. They must have not really liked him at all.
It must have gotten really bad as a head coach.
Yeah.
Some people change when they get
no doubt. Some people listen. Yeah. I mean, when you start losing,
You don't stay around an organization that long and get elevated to the spot he got elevated and get the long leash like he got without you being respected and liked.
Right.
So at some point it must have really turned to where
Yeah.
just you wasn't the same DA that you used to get.
Right.
That's the only explanation I can give.
only explanation I have for that, but he is no longer there. Obviously, he had really good things to say about New Orleans after the fact. We'll see where they go. He should, no doubt. 12 years he's been at New Orleans. He was, I think 5 was his first time, and then left for a little bit, came back, and had a lot of time in New Orleans. So, shout out to DA. Good run. See ya.
He's the worst NFL
See
head
ya.
coach maybe
I
of all
wasn't done.
time.
See ya. We appreciate you, but
Nuh-uh.
we'll let you go. We appreciate your defense, no doubt. Right? Not your head coaching tenure, but all the defensive stuff you did, you bringing actually some defense to New Orleans, that's a big thing. So we appreciate the loyalty to us, and we'll see ya. We'll see ya, and go ahead and be a defensive coordinator somewhere else, and go have a career doing that. But you're not gonna be the head coach.
Is he gonna be the next Steve Spagnuolo?
No doubt, for sure.
He is. Well, I would agree with you, but the defense gave up on him clearly because they used to be very good. Now they became the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say worst defense in the league, but
Statistically, they've been the
statistically?
worst defense in the league the last 3 weeks.
Okay, 3 weeks. I
But-
know, but not for the whole.
It's
entirety
Lloyd.
of the
It's
year.
Lloyd.
I
You know, Lloyd. He likes to
Not
bury-
for the
he likes to
entirety of
bury
the
the
year.
Saints, so this is
Yeah, of
working
course.
out
When
perfect for him.
you're playing with your 5th string quarterback that hasn't played, yeah, the defense is not going
Oh,
to be
because he
as
broke his
good.
femur.
I'm not saying
No, I'm
that.
just saying that's how the season's gone.
That's my point, though. Like, you can't. I mean,
No,
you're not
it's a
going to have
break.
7 Pro Bowl cornerbacks on your roster. You did have one come off the practice squad and make an unbelievable interception. But they'll be doing it for a new head coach, and we'll see where they go. It'll be hopefully they can win some games and make it fun, or not, and be a top 3 pick in the draft, and get a new head coach to let them draft his quarterback.
Yeah, this is the popular theory.
Shador Sanders
And Dion.
to be a head coach? No.
That would
No.
be wild.
No. Dion can't. I would not mind it being Ben Johnson.
He's not coming to the Saints.
Why? He was in New Orleans
Yeah, I think he knows that he is probably the hottest name in
Yeah.
coaching.
for sure.
I'm not going to that organization.
Why not?
Because look at it.
Well, I mean, you could fix that. They've won. They're not like they've been the swallow dollars forever. You can go and do that. I mean, if you're gonna if you're going to another organization, they're probably in a bad spot.
Yeah. The
Because you got rid of your
problem
coaches.
with a head coach like that is if as good as he is, as young as he is, you got to basically guarantee him the world and a long leash because tell the truth about it, bro, you are in salary cap hell. And you can only kick that can for so long
No doubt.
before you finally say, hey,
You have to start moving
we got
guys
to eat
around,
and start
do
moving
something.
it and start doing something. So at that point, you're basically in rebuild mode.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be a young head coach like that, I'm going to come to a situation like this, you can't be wiping me out after 3 years. Like it just can't happen like that.
I think part of it is they'll be able to bring him in, right? And he'll be able to get his quarterback, depending on where the draft spot's going to be.
Well,
He'll
we
be able
know
to have
all of that. My point is if we're going to wipe it out, we're probably still not going to have a good team unless we absolutely hit
You're not gonna-
on all of these drafts.
No doubt.
No, I'm not talking about 1 year. That's what I'm saying. Like 3-4 years down the line, it probably still might not be that good yet. That's a very
no
good
doubt.
chance.
I mean, but you can go out, you can build different. I mean, you saw what the Texans did 2 years ago.
2 years ago, who was there 2 years ago? A
do you mean?
completely different coach.
That's my point. They did it in 1 year, really. They got C.J. Stroud, and they've got guys in free agency, and they built their team.
How did they do it? Who did they trade? Deshaun.
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah,
an
no
absolute.
doubt.
My point is where's that deal? Who else is getting
No,
that
I
deal?
understand that. They hit on their draft picks. I get
because
that.
they had so many high ones. So my point is
that
like,
too.
who do we have that can be giving up a king's ransom for like that? Right
You're
now?
not gonna have anybody give them that, but you're gonna get you can get
Nobody
first,
on
you,
the team.
You can get Lattimore to get you probably a higher pick, not probably a first rounder. They ski mask the Texans. I mean, the Texans ski mask the Browns, obviously. So nobody's gonna get that again for anybody.
That's my
honestly.
so now my point is like
I
it's got to be
understand
for a
that.
couple
It's not
years.
going to be
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Like they're not going. Anybody that's firing a head coach, you're not going to have a turnkey. Hey, you're going to be good right away. There's going to have to be some leash for anybody that they get, because they are in salary cap.
Well, we know that, but my point is everybody gets the 2 to 3 year leash. I think they probably need more guarantee if I'm going to come and take that as the most sought after head coach right now.
maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
maybe.
There's
But I mean,
he could be the head coach of the anywhere, really. I mean,
Well, I mean, that's my point. But
the Saints are probably the worst job in the
It's
NFL.
not the worst, but it's not. There's going to be jobs. There's going to be
the
situations.
Raiders are the worst. Like, there's
It's
a lot
not-
of other jobs.
It's
that are
not.
the
Here's
worst.
the thing. Because of where the money part
Giants.
of it is, more so than just where the roster is right now. Like, you look at it and you're like, man, how are we going to make this team better? So you want me to come to what is not a great team, what is an older team that don't have any money, that don't have any picks, and you want to basically give me the same deal that anybody else would give me? Not going to work that way.
Their allotment of like normal first round, normal draft picks next year. They didn't get rid of any this past year to lose one for this coming year, right? So they just had the normal 7 picks or whatever.
I believe, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I know it's nothing like over the top.
Yeah,
or-
they have their
see.
first round pick.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to go hire someone. So I mean,
But
if they can get him here, great. If they can get him here, great.
I love the Ben Johnson idea.
idea.
I just think
I would say no.
you got to give a king's
if
ransom
he
for
says yes,
somebody
though,
like
if he
him.
says yes, then that's a good. I mean, I think it's a good move. I mean, who else you bring in? You go bring in Bill Belichick. You don't want that, right? Like, do people want Bill Belichick for 2 years? You want him to get the whole thing? He's not coming in because he's not going to get the GM job.
That's
They're not giving it to me. They're not taking it from Mickey Loomis.
That would
so he's not
be-
going to be able to come in and get that.
my greater point as to why Ben Johnson doesn't want this job is because of how it's systemically run from the top down. Like, you don't want to come into a situation where Mickey Loomis is going to he has to be shocked. He's the one that was up there defending this man, Dennis Allen, the entire time. He's like, oh, wait, you're going to fire him? Like, yeah, buddy. And you might be next, but they won't fire him either because he's de facto the owner of the team. And so if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm looking at that going, I don't want to work with him because I don't know what he's going to do. He's a crazy person.
No, I understand that, and let me kind of look. He has done a lot of things wrong as a GM, but as a GM / owner / whoever, like most of these guys aren't going to come out. The ones that come out and say you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Those teams don't win. The Jets don't win. The Giants haven't won since they got rid of him, right? So they got rid of Coughlin. The Browns don't win. The Commanders don't win. Like, all these teams that have fired all these guys because of all of that, they don't win. Then you got teams there's other teams that don't win either, but they are known to be better organizations in a sense, right?
The Saints thought they were
The
the
Cowboys,
Steelers.
right? Like, the Cowboys are going to go out there. They don't
win.
He doesn't. No, but they win regular season games. They're a better organization than the Browns.
I'll be honest with you. I think you got to
You know
go
what I
and
mean?
get. You have to go and get somebody who has head coaching. Think of it this way. This might sound crazy, and it didn't sound like the sexy move, but who's had some success, but has moved on from spots. The Dan Quinn type of guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need.
Yeah, see, that's I know.
You hate it, but it's the truth.
Well, he's doing well right now, huh? I'm sorry.
Hey,
He's
like
doing well
you
right
hate
now.
it, but it's the truth. Like you need. I'm telling you, for what is it gonna take to
is
sign
the hire
a Ben
before the
Johnson?
hire.
Yeah, but what is it gonna take to get a Ben Johnson? Like, why would you come to that situation? There's no money there. Like, there's so much wrong with it. You need somebody who had the success somewhere, who's been obviously a good coordinator, who can come and figure it out again over here, and that's what you need.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's not the sexiest one. I just for the situation that the Saints are in right now, I just can't see the sexiest, youngest hire saying that's the spot. If your offer for me is literally as relative that the rest of these guys are getting, that I'm getting from these other spots, wouldn't make any sense.
I mean, I don't know. If they figure out how to clear up some of the salary cap, or they figure out how to get rid of some guys, and they make it and say, "Hey, listen, you
Coach,
go
they're
get what you want to
$90
do."
million under.
I understand they're
Over.
always that,
Over,
they're-
yeah.
they're- I understand
like that's
that.
not get rid of. Like you're.
I understand that. Trade people, get some, do whatever you got to do, but they do it every year. Every year they get underneath the cap. So
I'm not saying they're not going to get underneath the cap. So my
I'm
point.
just,
Okay,
all
my
I'm
point
saying
is
they
you,
can do something to make it a little bit more enticing. I'm not saying
okay,
it'd be the
but time
perfect
out, time
job.
out. We need to hear about this again.
I understand
They're
what you're
obviously
saying.
going to find a way to get under the cap. That's not even a question.
understand
about
what
it.
you're saying.
My point
Cap's not
is
real.
with the age
not
of
real.
the guys that are on the roster right now, their ability to not be traded. Like, who you trading? You're not going to trade Cam. You're not trading DeMario. You're not trading Tyron.
DeMario Davis probably retired.
My point is you,
That would
these
be your
guys
best
you're-
bet. They all retire.
The guys
doubt.
you're paying the money to, you ain't trading because they're older now.
Right.
Right? So who do you trade? You got Marshawn. Pretty much. That's it. So how much can you get for him? You're not getting the king's ransom for him. So when you get under the cap, how far under can you get?
I understand.
Not that far.
I understand.
Then where do you go?
I understand what you're saying. Last year, I think they got 40 million or 30 million under the cap to go sign free agents. I'm not saying they're gonna do that or they're not gonna do that, but just by not having it for 1 year, they say, hey, this is going to be our – if they say, hey, this is our plan for the next 2 or 3 years, this is how we're going to get you the opportunity every year to get more cap space to go and build your team. It could be – I'm not saying he's going to come or it's going to be enticing, but there are ways for them to figure out how to make it work to go bring – because they're going to have to do that for any coach they bring in. Nobody's going to go to a lose-lose situation if they don't have the opportunity to go build a team that they want to build.
Coach, I'll argue back again. I'll say if Dan Quinn wants to be a head coach, who else was giving him a shot? He wasn't going to go get the top jobs that was out there, so he had to take a Washington. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's the situation. The most hot name on the market is not going to take this job unless you give him a contract that is head and heels above the other opportunities.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm
not saying you're wrong, but you got to go after him.
I'm not saying they're not.
You gotta
I'm
go
just
talk
saying
to him.
we're just talking about if it's. I would imagine they're going to go after him. Yes.
And you already tried to do the Dan Quinn hire with Dennis Allen. It's literally the same situation.
I know.
Like, former failed head coach is
Well,
great
we can't say he
defensive
was failed
coordinator.
head coach. I mean, he was in a Super Bowl,
No, well, he got fired.
but he was in a Super Bowl as a head coach.
But I'm
Has
talking about
Dennis
Dennis
Allen
Allen.
ever been there?
No, but I'm saying, okay, even worse example than is Dennis Allen of never really succeeded ever, but phenomenal coordinator.
I agree
yeah.
with that. Both of them are phenomenal coordinators. One, that's why I said he's been a successful head coach, whether you got fired or not. I mean, they all damn near get fired at some point, but he's been a successful head coach.
I'm going to say one name.
I hope there's more than one name on their list.
Yes, no, maybe indifferent, maybe fuck no. Joe Brady.
They're not gonna get. They're not gonna give it to him.
Worked there before.
He has worked there before. I thought about that earlier. I just didn't know if they're gonna give him. But he probably is ready for a head coaching job.
Want to know? Three
probably
tweets
is.
after every one.
He probably is ready to get a job.
I haven't said a damn thing yet because that's a very
Yeah.
enticing one. Like, I think that's one that is either a huge hit or a huge miss.
He's got nothing to lose.
That's an enticing one.
But as a organization, that's hard to go after somebody. I guess it'd be the same thing as Ben Johnson. He's just been doing it for a little bit longer than Joe Brady is doing it, and did it. My argument, I'm not saying they're gonna pick one or the other, right? Like, it's very similar, but Johnson saw a team go from not good to continue to get better and saw them grow a team that wasn't good, right? Joe Brady went there, got the offensive coordinator job on a team that was a winning team. Fine, that's not his fault. That was just the situation
With
he
a
was in.
top 2 or 3 quarterback.
Yeah, with one of the top quarterbacks in the league, right? Which is Detroit had a quarterback that wasn't supposed to be. He got rid of because he wasn't supposed to be good enough, and he built him into a Pro Bowl type quarterback, and he built him into a potentially Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's got some of the best numbers in the league right now.
No. I know his numbers right now are crazy, but we can't say he wasn't good enough. But when we say he wasn't good enough to what?
To win a Super Bowl.
Which he got to what?
Yeah,
Super
one time.
Bowl.
Yeah, right.
That's my point. Like, all right,
right,
he's good enough for 18 games, just not the 19.
No, right.
Yeah,
right.
but
they didn't like him. They wanted to get rid of him, so
Right.
they traded him for Stafford, and then they brought a guy who
And won a
was
Super Bowl.
supposed to be who did win a Super Bowl. Right. It worked out for them. Right, and it may work out for Jared Goff too in Detroit. They
it's
may
working
end up
out.
right. They
It's
may
working
end
out
up
well.
making Super Bowl, winning Super Bowl at
Right.
some point while he's there, and it may work out. But my point is, Ben Johnson has done that and saw that progression. Joe Brady has not. I love Joe Brady. I would love him to come. But do we want him to come in there to come to New Orleans? Jesus Christ, dude.
You're terrible.
I mean, you are unbelievable.
I'm surprised it was just me.
You're unbelievable, dude.
The amount of excitement on your face
I know.
is incredible.
I would love for Joe Brady to come to New Orleans, right, and but I just don't know how you're putting him in a situation. Hey, you're going to have to go and you have to rally a team who's going to have a lot of older guys, and you're going to have to try to mix in some young guys and bring in your own culture. That's a tough thing for someone to do who's never been.
Ben Johnson got to do the same thing.
No, I understand, but he's seen a culture being built from no culture and creating it and having that on him. That was my point. Is like you saw what it's like to go to a bad team with no culture and create culture and grow it. Right? You saw it from the outside in.
I think he's also. I think here's where I'll go off of Joe Brady in this situation. I think Joe has also seen. I love him. I think he's got a little bit of an affinity for New Orleans anyway. Like, I think he does love what this place could be because he's seen it at its best. But I also do think he got burned a little bit in the Carolina situation where it obviously wasn't a head coaching spot, but he went to a bad organization at a bad time.
Exactly.
And it put him back on his career a little bit. So I do think he's in a spot right now with a top 2 to 3 type quarterback where he's going to probably stay there until he sees what he feels is the spot to make it happen. I'm not sure that's what New Orleans
Here's
is.
my question before we move on to go and start talking about LSU. Do you think that – because they're obviously not going to hire a coach until the season's over, okay? Do you think that where they end the season and what draft pick they have makes a difference on who they get as a head coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it does. Whoever it is.
If they're a top 5 pick and you know that you're gonna get your quarterback of the future, you're gonna go out.
Or if you have the pieces to get into that top 5 spot, meaning like you have the.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is I don't know if they have the pieces to trade into the top 5.
No, they don't right now. I'm saying like if they end up moving people, that's going to give them the weaponry to be able to say, hey, we'll give you these picks to get to that spot.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is they're going to win on Sunday.
Because you got to think about it. Like all it takes is,
No doubt.
hey, if I get one more
They're not
like
playing on
second
Sunday,
rounder,
but
When do they play?
they're off.
they're off this week. If I get one more second rounder, and let's say you
That's
have
why I got fired.
Yeah, they're off. If I have one more second rounder, and let's say you end the season at the number 10 spot, and now I can give you our next 2 first and a second.
Yeah.
Somebody would like
for
that.
sure.
So like if you need to be able to have something like that,
For sure, it would like
that
it
kind
would
of
be,
package.
It would be nice to go down to like the second pick, to be have the second worst team in the league, have the number 2 overall pick. Somebody comes up and says, no, that's not gonna. It wouldn't work out that way. I was gonna say someone comes up and trades, but you don't go back that far, and you're still able to get the quarterback that you want and get some trade capital. But that's probably not gonna work. We'll see what happens. They got a long way to go. They got half the season left to play with an interim head coach. Maybe Darren Rizzi's the guy. I think you got to go outside the organization. You bring some new blood in here. But maybe they go ahead and they win 7 straight games.
There's
with Darren Rizzi as the
a
head
crazy
coach.
statistic, and obviously Antonio Pierce is only adding into it this year about interim guys getting the head coaching job and how much of a failure it ends up being going forward. So
They do play on Sunday. They play 11-10.
I thought they were off this week.
who they play?
Falcons.
Okay, never mind. You're right.
I could have sworn they were off this week too.
Still fired him.
They did fire him. It worked out.
Halfway, right? Ain't no such thing.
We'll see what happens. We got a long way to go. But, man, we got off on a tangent there.
That was a good little debate.
That was great. And I wanted to mention this before we get to the football side. LSU baseball, 3-game series against Stanford in playing the Biloxi. Stanford.
And Sons.
I didn't say Stanford, did I?
Mm-mm.
I said Stanford.
Yeah.
I thought I said Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
In Biloxi, again with the Biloxi Shuckers Stadium out there. 3-game series. LSU goes 4-3, 7-2, 9-1. They dominate the 3-game series in the fall. A lot of really good young kids, young players that are going out there and playing really well at a high level early on, which is great to see. Obviously, you don't want to take too much stock into the fall, but to have young guys come in there and play that way early on is always a good sign. And then the pitching staff looks great. Pitching staff looks deep. Pitching staff looks dominant. So it should be a fun spring. But I wanted to bring in that news before we got to the LSU football news because I think some people may have missed that LSU played a 3-game series in Biloxi against Samford. Okay? All right, let's get to the LSU football conversation this weekend. Actually, I guess this leads into the LSU conversation. Bananas college football weekend, right? A lot of things happened. Texas A&M got curb stomped by South Carolina, which we said could happen, right? I think everybody saw that could happen. If you go look at the betting trends, a lot of people were betting on South Carolina to win, and South Carolina not only did they win, they absolutely dominated Texas A&M. Texas A&M lost Le'Veon Moss for the rest of the season.
Live
Not
bet.
great, huh?
Live bet.
That was you. That was very.
You can't,
yeah.
can't bet with your feelings. You just got to use the numbers sometimes.
Be smart. You know, you got to take what they give you, and that's what they gave you. Obviously, South Carolina saw what A&M was going to do. I thought Marcel Reed actually played okay. He threw the ball 28 times, looked good throwing the football. Wasn't terrible. Didn't like.
He had his first turnover this week. Like let's
Yeah.
not undersell the kid. Like he's not a competent quarterback. He just didn't have to throw the ball against him.
Right. He didn't have to, and he can. He was capable of doing it. Is it his strong suit? No. Running is a running first quarterback, pass second. That's going to develop. But South Carolina made him throw the football, and it worked out for him. South Carolina got off to a hot start, and their defense they were electric. So shout out to South Carolina for the big dub. Texas A&M losing puts the SEC in a lot of turmoil, and that opens up the door for LSU this weekend to doesn't really change anything that they want to do, but if they go ahead and they win out, it puts them in a position where there's not an undefeated team in the SEC play right now, which is it makes everybody in play. So LSU Alabama plays this weekend, playoff game, right? Elimination game. Whoever wins moves on. Whoever loses out of the playoff contention. LSU is ranked higher than Alabama, I guess, in some polls, right? Maybe not. I don't know what the rankings are.
Oh, they just came out. It is, I believe, a top 15 matchup.
13 it is top 15.
13 and 14.
Yeah, one of the two. I think it's interchangeable. I don't.
Yeah, but it just looks better.
Yeah, Alabama on AP. Alabama's 11. LSU's 14.
Top 15 matchup.
LSU, Alabama's favored by 3 points right now. That was the opening line. That means you hammer LSU. Home dogs.
Home dogs.
Love that.
And that's what, to make this conversation, like, to tie it a little bit together, like, I may be an idiot, but I don't think I've ever seen home field advantage have so much of an impact as I've seen this year. Like, whenever you look at Texas A&M versus LSU and Texas A&M playing at home, like, you saw that made a huge difference for A&M. You go to South Carolina, you see that make a huge difference for Marcel Reed and how he played in that game. Like, I don't know if it's the whatever's going on, but it feels like the production value is so much higher and the fans are so much more into it as it's not as like how it used to be. It feels like college football is getting to like so many more people are interested and involved and know more.
Well, you got to think too, man. Like we're in, what's it about week 11? That's correct. We're in the start of November. How many teams every year? Like we're looking at this situation in the SEC right now where there is no undefeated SEC teams. Realistically, if this is any of the old years, you're probably talking about Georgia or A&M, maybe. I don't even know if you would say A&M because they just had their second loss, unless they ran the table from here. Nobody else is still alive in the national picture. At this
Georgia. It would be Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. All three have
Tennessee
one
and
losses.
Texas.
Those
are
three
the three teams.
Yeah, those
but
would be the three.
Those teams all play. Where you sitting there like, at least two of those are going to be eliminated too.
Right, because they play Georgia and Tennessee play each other.
So you're looking at situations where like in every other year at this point in the season, like the game that's going to happen here Saturday night, it's not an elimination game. It's just a bragging rights game. At this point, every other year, two teams with two losses.
Right. Oh yeah, every other year.
Because now all these teams understand like the old adage that it was every game counts and it matters is like old. And it's not a thing because if you look at it now, every game really does count and you're never really out of it anymore until you're actually out of it.
Right.
And I think that has been open for so many more teams so much deeper into the season. It's drawn that much more comparison. It's drawn that much more eyes, and it's just better for the sport because fan bases ain't out of it already when it comes to November.
I was really rooting for Kentucky to beat Tennessee and then Tennessee to beat Georgia.
I was rooting for Florida to beat Georgia. On the line.
I didn't think that was going to happen.
Me either, but they were there.
I know, they were there.
And then that man tore his hamstring so bad he put a knee brace
South
on.
Carolina, and after who?
DJ Lagway.
Oh, did you see what's happening? They're not ruling him out for Florida.
This
is, and I was just telling him that. So listen, you bring the golf cart onto the field,
I'm gonna tell you this,
and you get taken off, you're not playing the next week.
I'm going to tell you this, though. We had this conversation, and this is what we kind of mean about this stuff. If this is only for you not understanding who we got and who you might have to prepare for and this and that, that's so bush. At some point, we got to start getting those injury reports in college pretty close to what they are in the league. Because it's like, hey, bro, he was on a golf cart last week. He couldn't even walk off the field. Or not golf. They had to cart him off the field.
Him off of the field.
So if that's the case, there's a good chance you can't be playing next week.
He did the towel on the head, the thumbs up, I'm good, with a hammy, and now he's not out. Now, this could be Billy just saying, because
Mertz is still out, right?
Oh, Mertz is out for the year.
Okay, so Mertz is out. Lagway's out.
I thought that was Grant Mertz the entire time. I forgot he got hurt. I was like, this looks exactly like him.
Yeah, the Yale guy.
Yeah,
he's a Yale.
So
how about when they asked Billy going to halftime? How about transfer from Yale? That's how he said it to the
Andrew Hatch situation.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's tough. And look, guy battled. But if you get a cart to come and get you off of the field, can't play the next week. It's just
unless you're real good.
But that has nothing to do.
That has nothing to do.
It's just like listen to me. Like unless I can't walk, I'm walking off the field, or at least I'm walking into the locker room. Yeah. Unless I'm going up uphill terrain, or some crazy shit.
Unless you're at Clemson, you got to go up the hill
and
get
right.
back into the thing.
No doubt. If you bring this golf cart,
if I'm leaving the field at field level, I got to be able to not walk if I'm getting off the field.
And I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad that he's not seriously. Hopefully, he's not seriously injured. But yeah, he doesn't come out, they may win that game. He doesn't get hurt, they may win that game.
I don't know what to make of Georgia aside from the fact that Carson Beck stinks.
He probably should break up with his girlfriend.
Well, she's not.
She doesn't have any hits in her, apparently.
I don't think that he's the only one on her roster. I've got a feeling.
Yeah, maybe.
Doesn't.
Maybe.
He's just happy to be included.
Maybe she is, too.
Maybe she is, though. Maybe. You never know.
Wait,
you don't know her like that.
Time out. I'm not even. No, we're not.
Yeah, we're not. Don't entertain that.
Time out. Come on.
Don't entertain that.
He's the quarterback at Georgia.
Potential first-round pick. Maybe not anymore.
I don't really think that matters at this point.
But he's bad at the sport.
Well, he's been recently bad. And look, I don't think it's a coincidence. I
just couldn't imagine him looking at me.
Listen to me. I'm not like in the baseball world.
Why are you going there?
In
the
why are you going there? I'm very confused at what you're doing right now.
In the baseball world, if you were struggling, you were in a slump, and you started dating somebody, and you were slumping,
it's got a slump buster.
Nope, it is. Hey, we may need to look. This is great. This is not working. It ain't you, it's me type of thing. Let's try. Let's go on to the next one because you're not getting hits, and you're not performing, and maybe it's just bad juju. Maybe so. Maybe that's what he's going through right now. Tough to get rid of it, though.
That's also what's funny about college football and where we are now in NIL and the transfer portal, because they would have Raiola on the bench. Yep. Instead, he went to Nebraska. Like, he would be benched so fast, dude. Threw 3 picks again. And they won
but
again.
Don't they have Rashada?
No.
He was on the other sideline. Oh, yeah, he is on their sideline, yeah.
He's on Georgia. He left Florida, went to Georgia.
He is. He's there.
He's there?
Yeah. He's suing Billy Napier.
Yeah, we talked about it
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
So they got a better guy than Raiola.
But do they? Is he?
I don't know, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe he's not good.
Get on the field.
Yeah, maybe he's not good.
Is he?
This guy was, Carson Beck was projected top, maybe 1 overall pick going into the year.
Yeah, he went to Arizona State.
Anyway.
Why is he not playing?
The SEC is obviously a crapshoot right now, and we'll see. But this weekend is a big weekend to go and basically put LSU in a position to win or to make the playoffs, to be in the SEC tournament, SEC championship game, right? All of those things. Are they going to do it? I don't know. They got to figure out how to stop the running quarterback. This running quarterback's better than another running quarterback because he can actually throw the football.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This isn't the defensive worry for me. I think this is a game where.
Yep. Now we got to talk about the offense.
Has to be much more efficient than they were against Ole Miss. Much more efficient than they were against A&M, and they're going to have to keep that offense off the field by converting 2nd and 3rd downs. Like, I think if you can get better, more efficient play out of the LSU offense is how you slow down everything that Alabama has going on the other side. And those are the 2 things in big games so far that we've seen LSU not really being able to do. Right, we threw for under 50% completion percentage. I believe under 50% completion percentage against Ole Miss. You didn't throw that well completion percentage.
I think it was at 50%.
Right at 50% against A&M. I think if you do that again, almost no matter how good the defense plays, in my opinion, because of the dynamic nature of Alabama's offense, I think you put yourself in a bad spot here. I think you have to be more efficient in offense.
You can't have 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 9. You can't have those.
No, even if you do. You got to start converting them.
And you can't have.
And chances are, though, anywhere, the more of them you're in,
the less
you're going to be because of how much they try to push the ball down the field.
The less efficient you're going to be, right? If you stay, and I'm not saying you got to stay on track every play, blah, blah, blah. If not, you're not going to be able to convert. It just makes it a little. You're able to stay in rhythm of your offense. You're able to continue to try to run the football as opposed to, all right, we're just going to throw the ball 55 times. This game, which I think if they throw the ball 55 times against Alabama, it's not gonna be unless he's, an outrageous percentage. But you don't want to throw the ball 55 times.
No,
against Alabama.
But you might be forced to do that because there's no Garrett Dellinger.
There's no Garrett Dellinger, but I think that you can.
So he's had tightrope surgery as it was expected or reported, and now so he definitely won't play against Alabama. So you pull in Paul Mubanga and you see what you can do. But he was your best graded offensive lineman in terms of run blocking.
No doubt. And that's definitely gonna. But hey, listen, next man up, you got to figure out how to do it. You can't just say, oh, we lost one offensive lineman, we're done, we can't try to run it. You got to figure out how to get more creative with the running game, to do something to move the ball forward in the running department, because you can't just rely on.
Shout out Meade Heavy Civil.
Shout out Meade Heavy Civil, right? Moving
forward.
Louisiana forward. You got to figure out something to help and take some pressure off of the passing game, because you just can't rely on that, especially against a team that is as talented as Alabama. People say, oh, they're not the same Alabama. Yeah, but they're still really good. They still have talented guys on that team. They have the ability to make you. Now, they've had their own issues on their offensive line, right? I think that's been part of the big reason why Jalen Milrose had been a little bit inconsistent this year as far as turnovers, because there's more pressure on Jalen Milrose this year than he's had before, and they're forcing him into some uncharacteristic throws. But their offensive line has had their own issues, and I think LSU's obviously defensive line and defensive front seven is their strength. So I think that's going to be a good matchup going into this weekend, being able to get after the quarterback. Now, the whole RPO zone read stuff, I think they're going to be figuring that one out, right? They've got to make some adjustments, because they can't do what they did against A&M, expect that to work here, and I think they know that. If they don't know that, we got bigger problems.
Well, you got to remember, too, last game Alabama played 2 weeks ago before they had their break, right? 34-0 win over a Missouri team that everyone had tabbed to begin the year.
Not you.
Not me. As a playoff type of team, right? So if they were able, they were obviously able to figure out some things. Didn't give away. They threw for over 200. They ran for over 200. They're figuring things out, which is why I think they're coming into this spot where their offense is going to be they're going to be clicking. They're going to be playing well. I don't think you're going to see a lot of the mistakes that they made early. You need to keep them off the field. And by keeping them off the field means you need to be more efficient offensively. And I think if LSU can figure out their ways of doing that, that bodes better for them being able to win this ball game than thinking they're just going to have to go outgun them and be able to shut them down on defense. It ain't going to really happen in this game.
You have to take away Jalen Milrose's ability to run the football.
You're not. He's going to run, and he's probably going to get to 50-plus. You just can't have him do what he did to you last year. He do what he did to you last year.
100-plus and 4 touchdowns?
4 touchdowns. You might get boat raced in your own stadium. That's what you can't have happen.
The only reason I bring it up is because in their 2 losses, Vanderbilt, 40-35, 7 rushes.
Well, I was about to say, he hasn't
yards.
rushed as efficiently.
Tennessee, 14 carries, 11 yards.
And the
against
reason why,
Georgia, 16 for 117.
Right.
But that's also why I bring up that's what happened early on. What happened in their last game? What happened in their latest game? It's like when we talk about pitchers, right? We can't sit here and talk about what the pitcher was doing in week 2 or 3 of the season, and now we're all the way in the back of May, and we're talking about, but he gave up these runs. Yeah, but what's he been doing lately? Because that's who he is now. That's who Alabama is now. That 34-0 team that they just beat Missouri with. That's who they are right now. So that's closer to what you're going to get, which is why you got to be good on offense.
What were the numbers in that game?
What game?
Against Missouri?
Yeah.
216 they ran for, 270 something 216 they threw for, 2 touchdowns, no picks. They ran for like 270 something.
Yeah, on the high rush.
I have his numbers like right in front of me against Missouri. 16-26, 215, no touchdowns, no picks, 11 carries, 50 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah. They had 3 guys for over 50 yards rushing and another one for 48 yards.
If they're running the ball,
I think it's more about the whole team running the ball than just him running the football.
Yeah, he's the catalyst of that thing.
No doubt. I mean, Tennessee, they didn't run it well. He didn't run it well.
They lost.
And they lost. Right?
Vanderbilt didn't run it well. They lost.
Yep.
Georgia, he ran it well. They won.
Yep.
But also, like, that can't be a thing if you're – I'm still a little miffed at the whole Blake Baker, like, we weren't prepared for that. And then Greg Penn says the same thing. And
did Blake Baker actually say that? Or did Greg Penn say that and we're going based off that, right? Which obviously, I mean, it was obvious they weren't prepared, but did Blake Baker actually come out and say we weren't prepared?
Yeah, he said we were prepared for 1 quarterback, essentially. And that is what shocks me, because we've talked about this before, but that man started 3 games, and he does something that's completely different than what Connor Wegman does.
I think Saban said it on game day this past weekend, too. He was like,
he's coming home?
He's like, I'm pretty sure they didn't prepare for another quarterback. Like, it's pretty obvious.
They definitely didn't.
That's just crazy to me.
It's crazy. It really is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved what they were doing with the only game plan they put together.
Studied too hard for that test.
But that other guy is.
I wish they still had Jimbo. They'd have kept him in.
Yes,
they'd have kept Wegman in the game. If Jimbo was still there.
Yeah, I mean, he's healthy. There's just maybe. At least the running game. Let's try to shut that part down.
And I'll give him.
They won't make that mistake again.
No, but I'll give him a little bit of a pass. just in this sense because of what happened and how the game went.
They dominated so much they had to go to somebody else.
Right, and then whenever they flipped, you started not dominating. You turned the ball over three
Well, right,
straight
and
times.
we made
and
it.
it's like,
It was a perfect storm, right?
Right,
You bring in the
it's
new guy,
crazy.
and you gave him short fields, and you put yourself on your heels, which it was a combination of the defense not being prepared for that, and also the offense giving their offense an easy touchdowns.
Yeah, and you don't have any time to fix it.
Easy
like,
drives.
we're back on
right,
the field
like,
again.
We're getting some haymakers thrown at us right now. and
I'll say it
we're
again
not
too.
doing it.
I do think we don't give sometimes some of these coaches and how much they play X's and O's and how much they play chess. I do think we don't give some of these coaches some of the credit that they need. I do think there's a possibility that with the run game that they had going, because you have a good running back in Le'Veon Moss, right? You just don't have the threat of the quarterback run when you have Wegman back there. I do think in some of those situations they lined up a lot of the same and realized they don't have anyone to play someone if we have this spot.
Yeah.
Let's just see if they play it the same way.
Right.
And when they realized we were, floodgates at that point.
Yeah.
I do think that's a strong possibility to happen.
And the other conversation, right? And we really haven't been threatened over the top since probably Ole Miss, like consistently when they had Trey Harris going over the top. He dropped the football. They got a guy at Alabama that can do
pretty
that.
young guy.
Yeah, real young. I don't know if he turned 18 yet. Does a lot of fadeaways in the middle of plays. They practice that apparently. That guy can take the top off the defense, and he doesn't drop balls, and he catches it, and he doesn't let you get tackled. He doesn't get tackled. That's going to be a challenge. This will be the biggest challenge for our secondary since they had to play.
When you get that brand new bike and you can get the brakes going. You
get the front the back wheelie where you get
he got some of that in there too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you got to kind of watch for that.
Stop
as
it
well.
on a dime. You stop on a dime and you go to the wall and he just keeps going, right? And so that's going to be something to watch too because you have to deal with the run, right? You don't want to let Milroe get out and just beat you with his legs, and you got to defend the run. But at the same time, he can easily pull that back, and Ryan Williams is going to go over the top and throw a deep ball 60 yards down the field, and he did against Georgia all day.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good about what that defense has done collectively in the secondary.
Me too.
When it comes to kind of containing some guys. Obviously, you talked about the Trey Harris situation. That should have been an 80-yard touchdown.
Right.
So, like, the threat of it and the opportunity for it, it's still there.
Yeah.
You just can't allow it to continue to happen and continue to burn it, to burn you, I should say. Yeah, but this is one guy you got to look for because he will run straight through double teams. He will run over the top of you. He will do those things. What you thinking, Lloyd? Why you got that?
I'm a little shocked at the offensive output from Alabama. You have
I was shocked about it too when I was looking through it the other day. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just thought that because of the man that you hired, I thought you would get a little bit better offensive numbers. But you have Jam Miller, your running back, is second on the team in carries at 74. Guess how many Jalen Milroe has?
125.
102.
Wow.
And then you look at your wide receiver production. Ryan Williams obviously should be in high school still. He's 17. 35 catches, 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. Jeremy Bernard, 30 catches, 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. The next one is Justice Haynes at running back with 16 catches. They're not the.
They don't
Jalen Milroe has to be special for them to.
Right, and he's averaging 3.6 yards a carry for the year, right? Which I'm not saying anything other than the fact that that's what the numbers are right now. Because any given day he can do what he did against Georgia and run for 100-something yards.
Oh, it'll be one of those games. He's going to get
No
15 carries.
No doubt. It's going to be him or not. They're going to win because of him, or they're going to lose because he didn't do what he needed to do, or he didn't play well enough. He could play really good, but it's all going to be on his shoulders. He's going to win or lose the game for them, without a doubt.
This is going to be a crazy take. It might come down to the 2 quarterbacks. Garrett Nussmeier and Jalen Milroe. I think so.
Man,
that's wild.
It's crazy how football does that sometimes, huh? Crazy. Like, hey, man, I wonder if it's going to come down to the 2 starting quarterbacks. No, I think it's going to do that. I think that's what's going to happen.
How many times do you think Garrett Nussmeier runs the football?
How many times do I think he runs the football?
Because we've had a whole bye week to figure this out, and then a whole week of practice coming up.
I'll tell you what, if he got out of there about 5 times this weekend, I'd be like,
Heisman.
That's great.
I can't tell you how many times he's going to run it. What I can tell you this, though. I think there's a strong chance we win if he can run for 3 first downs.
That's it. Yeah.
First downs. Now look, these may be
Third
3
one?
yards?
3rd and 3s where he gets 6. 3rd and 6 where he gets 7. 3rd and 7 where he gets 7. Like, I'm not saying it's got to be. I'm not saying the
move it.
number total needs to be big. 3 first downs.
Just move it. Because they are going to put himself in a position where he can. They're not going to spy him, obviously, and they're going to put him in a position where there's going to be. I mean, they showed it. He did it. He's only done it a couple times, but they're going to put him in a position where they're going to be running back, and he can step up and go.
He steps up great.
Just got to go.
It's the next 2 steps.
It's just the go.
I mean, think about it, man. Like if I am the team that's sitting there after they just played Texas A&M, and I'm trying to scheme for you defensively, and I watch the A&M clip, I'm like, first off, my thought is, well, he's gonna give you one. And then if I go look at the numbers, just look at the numbers and see what the numbers were in that game, and they threw it 50 times. Oh yeah, we're gonna let him do what he do back here. He gonna give us some. Why not? Why do we need to bring more if he's gonna sooner or later give us one, and he's not super efficient in these situations? That's how I would play it. And I would imagine they're gonna play it a lot the same until you make them do something different.
Oh, I would imagine if you're Alabama, do throw it 50 times. I'd love to see that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop
LSU,
8. I'm gonna drop 7.
You're LSU.
I'm gonna put them in zone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you read it. I'm not gonna give you the man-to-man easy reads. I'm going to make you find it, because if I try to make you find it, there's a good chance you giving me one anyway. So that's what I would do.
Yeah.
CJ Daniels has to play.
He's playing. I think he's going to play.
He has
He's
to play
definitely
the whole game.
Yeah, he needs to stay in the game.
I'm excited to see what that offense looks like with all of them.
CJ Daniels will
seen it
be
yet.
great in this game. I'm not saying he has to play. What I do think you need is, especially if he can't play or he doesn't play, you got to have Kyron Lacey go ahead and play above what he's been doing lately. He has got to turn into the absolute alpha in this game and be able to move the chains consistently.
He can't drop. He's got to.
Can't
Can't drop balls.
He has to be able to move the chains consistently.
He has got to be the number one, and you have to be a true number one.
Yep.
Hey, when I need you on 3rd down, and I need you on a tough catch, I need you to get open and catch the football. I don't care if the guy is draped on you or not. You've got to catch it. Malik Neighbors did that so good. He may not have been open all the time.
I'll be honest,
but he was open.
Even when you watch Kyron play, it's not even. I don't even feel that bad about the 50-50 or contested catches. I feel like it's
the
balls.
wide open ones.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's
no
balls
doubt.
that he should be making
with
plays on,
you.
that he just drops his level of awareness or he drops his level of concentration, and he gives plays away in those situations. I feel like if he doesn't do that and he's able to pull those 3 to 4 balls like that in a game, completely different.
Yeah.
It's completely
no,
different.
for sure. I think that's why CJ Daniels is so important, because he makes those. He's another guy on the team that makes those tough contested catches and moves.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
even think it's the contested ones. I think it's the
just-
ones where
right.
he should
No, I'm
be
with
making
you.
these plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's wide open, but there's not a hand swiping in. He's beat the guy. He's got to step on the
Yeah.
guy. You know what I mean? Pull those in. Those are the ones I want him to pull in.
Yeah, you got to run the football too. You've got to figure that out.
There has to be something.
You've got to have something.
Ground game has to be able to
Have
give
to
you
have
something as
something.
well. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, like you've got to have something. And you've got to have the defensive ends being able to, when they push up field, not over run the quarterback and let Jalen Milroe just kind of just scurry around. You've got to be able to keep him in there and contain. And then when you do have an opportunity to get him on the ground, you get him on the ground. He's a big motherfucker, right? Like
Kind of all do him.
he's fucking hard to tackle. He's strong as shit. Like
He is strong as hell.
I mean, you gotta fucking get him, right? Like when you get your arms around him, you
Wait for the
gotta
cavalry
get
to
him.
come.
You've got to get him, right? Or get him to the point where he can't get the ball off and someone else comes help you. Whatever you need.
He's really one though. Like we talked about it in that pass contain, you really just can't run by him. You can't run
Right.
by the level of his drop, because as soon as you do that, he's gonna step up and smack you over the head for 35. Like you just can't do it. So you got to be able to retrace. You got to be able to keep him in the pocket and make him try to beat you from the pocket. Make him try to beat you from that spot.
Well, that's the funny thing. Is like the book's out on him.
It doesn't matter if the book's
I
out. 'Cause
know.
You gotta imagine, dude. When I get the book's out, yeah, it is. And I mean, anybody, especially playing in their home stadium, playing in their away stadium, it don't really matter what it is. If I'm a D-line, it's a passing down, and I get a chance to rush, and I think I got a shot at you. Let me get by him, because let me get me. I'm trying to get one too. Mm-hmm. All you gotta do is that 2 or 3 times, and he'll make you pay. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not like the book isn't there. It's the discipline of playing
That's a
and
good point.
understanding like, this is how we're going to beat him, even though it seems like, maybe I could get there this time, and maybe you can. But in the event that you don't, and you let him out, because I promise you, He's more athletic than you.
As I was going to say, he's the best athlete on the
He's
field.
more
Is
athletic
the
than
other
you.
thing.
When you let him get by you, that's when he breaks your back, and that's what you can't have happen.
100%. I think it's a great point, right? It's not about not knowing how to defend it. It's about doing it the entire game and being disciplined enough to say, it may be boring and I may not get all the sacks. I may not get the opportunities to have the big plays, but I'm also not giving him an opportunity to have the big play either. And it's the discipline part that makes it hard. That's what makes good teams the best teams, is being disciplined enough to be able to do what you got to do, even though it's boring.
Do you think he's playing better or worse than last year?
Worse.
Because he's trending to be almost the exact same.
But he has more interceptions right now, doesn't he?
I'm looking at his numbers right now. 65% completion percentage he was at last year, 67% this year. 23 touchdowns last year. He's at 13 with 6 interceptions. He had 6 interceptions all of last year.
Yeah, it was the interceptions thing that he's been doing more.
I mean, I think it's trending a little worse, but I mean, it's only.
It's
It's
not
not
that-
right? You
right.
lose your
Yeah,
best
right.
receiver, he goes
Right,
to
no
Texas,
doubt.
and your best receiver now is a true 17-year-old freshman. Yeah, I would imagine you're probably playing a little bit worse.
And not saying he is worse.
That's not him.
As a
That's what I'm saying. Like
quarterback.
it's
It's
not
the
like saying they
situation
didn't
that
have
it is.
anything around him, but it's hard to have that kind of continuity with guys who just
and new
are
coach.
Well, yeah, new coach
And
too,
new
and all that
yeah.
stuff. So there's a lot. I'm not
For sure,
that
but
doesn't
when
surprise me at all.
but for the simple question of is he playing worse, it's the interceptions part that makes me feel like he was playing a little worse than he was last year. Not like he's playing awful, right? But definitely not as
He's
sharp.
bigger than 6'2", 225.
Yeah, I mean 6'2",
a
225 is a
monster.
big dude.
Yeah, I
Big.
know. A quarterback is built a little different. That's why you would like to have a Harold Perkins for all the people that are saying, defense might be a little bit better without Perk. This would be a great game to have him. Do you know what another time would have been great to have him? A&M.
No, you're right. And look, the defense has been playing better without him. Doesn't mean they are better without him. They were playing better without him because everybody had specific roles. Do you see the other linebackers playing a bigger role in this week? Because they're a little bit more athletic, a little bit faster. Atkins and
This
Darvin. What's his last name? What's the other one's name?
Keys?
Keys. Darvin Keys.
Devon Keys.
Devon Keys.
This could be I'm glad you said his name, Debo Atkins, because this could be his.
No
Because I think a
doubt.
lot of people
Coming out.
I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, what weeks by him? That's not what you necessarily want. You want what weeks to rush. And I think they could be a Debo spy game where you kind of have a coming out party. Because I don't think, for what Major Burns does well, and he's been playing better, I don't know if he could run with him for 4 quarters. I think Debo might be a great guy to bring in and see, because he's probably 10 pounds lighter and an inch shorter than Jalen, but he can. That's a dog.
Yeah. No, he's good, and they like him a lot.
And
he's
if you
gotten
don't
better
have
and
to worry
better and
about
better.
whatever your game plan is, like just follow him.
And Brian Kelly,
Play.
he's done enough. Him and Keys have done enough for
You earn the trust.
Brian Kelly to continually mention them in press conferences saying, sorry, I got the hiccups.
I get choked up about it too.
Yeah. In the press conference saying that these kids they've earned their way, like they've earned the opportunity for more playing time because of what they've done.
Do you think that is it Ryan Williams?
Yes.
Do you think that Zy Alexander follows him?
Yes. Follows him? He hasn't followed anybody yet, right?
Right.
I don't think he follows him. They're not going to make him do something that he hasn't done.
No. I think what they end up doing is refining the stuff that they tried to do to Trey Harris in the Ole Miss game. If you remember correctly, they tried to bracket him on the ball that he blew by us early, and understanding, just being like, hey, we're bracketing him, we're playing him on both sides, but you cannot let him blow right through you. Like, understanding these things and how to play on top of him while you're bracketing him, how to play under and over. Like, I think they're going to do what they can to – and I don't think they're going to do it in a ton of situations, simply because you got to realize, like, the kid's a good ball player, but it's because he's such a good athlete and he's got such good ball skills. It's not because he understands defenses that well.
No,
So I don't think you need to be overly sophisticated to play him. You just have to play him and be very disciplined in how you do it. I think when you try to make it a little too much on your side, I think that's when you kind of mess up in a situation, because I don't think he's like outsmarting all these defenses.
Well, and he's not-
He's not a very good.
He's not a tactician.
No, and he's
Not
not
yet.
Not yet.
Not
No,
yet.
he will be.
Yeah, I'm not saying
he
not
makes
yet.
He makes majority of his plays, his
Or
yards,
plays
on hey, I'm going to beat you over the top, and we're going to have these deep balls, and I'm going to go up and catch it, and you're not going to catch it, and I'm going to run 75 yards down the – he's not beating you by running his routes and beating you over the middle and understanding where he needs to sit down in the zone yet. I think eventually he's going to do that, right? And he is a freakishly athletic wide receiver, and he's the next great one to come out of Alabama. I have no doubt about that. But Alabama, they've kind of trended this way last couple years, right? They have 2 or 3 playmakers on offense. They have quarterback who's good. The running back, you can't even consider their playmaker, right? You have a Jam Miller who's their starting running back, but he's not lighting the world on fire. And you got Ryan Williams. You have 2 wide receivers that are catching balls, and that's really it.
Like when I think about if I'm gonna follow someone and or double someone and pretty much do it like all game, but you got to have more than one game where you got more than 8 receptions. He's got one game.
That's my point.
I know. He's got one game this season where he's got more than 8 receptions, and he's got one game this season where he's got 8 receptions. Not another game where he has that many. Not even, and that wasn't even the Georgia game. So like that's not someone where I'm like, let's put the majority of our focus on him. Why? He's not touching the ball that much.
Enough.
He is not affecting the game that much.
Right.
So I think they'll do stuff at certain times. But I don't think that this is one where you need to be following him and worrying about him.
And now that goes into the discipline side of it, right? You don't need to do anything special because he's not getting the ball all the time, but you also got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's so that you don't get burnt and you don't get blown by that 1 or 2 times where it actually matters and he changes the game, right? A la Georgia, right? Getting them back into that game, after Georgia got back into that game, giving up that 75-yard touchdown, like, you've got to stay disciplined enough to know that at any given point, this motherfucker could take the top off the defense and beat us. But he doesn't. He's not catching the ball. He's not Malik Neighbors where he's getting 15 targets and getting 8 to 10 catches in multiple games and beating you all over the field.
He's not Trey Harris. He's got like 50 more catches than anybody else on the squad.
Right.
So,
right.
So.
It's going to be interesting to see how they play it, but I like the way our defense is set up right now. I think for me the biggest thing is how disciplined are we going to be in our responsibilities containing, right, all the stuff that we did not contain against South Carolina, and how on schedule and how efficient offensively we can continue to be moving the ball forward and keeping Alabama off the field. If you keep Alabama out of rhythm, they're not going to be able to go and move the ball the way they want to move it because they're a big play offense. That's how they score points. It's through big plays.
Yep.
And if they're not in rhythm, it's hard to have big plays whenever you're not on the field. So I think that's the key.
Well, that's what it also is very, like, if you want to look at the other side of it, if LSU can't run the football, it's going to have to be what we talked about earlier, where it's nuts going, everything's on your shoulders 50 times.
Can't have that. I can't have it either. Don't want that to happen.
We'll have to play special if that's the case.
Yes.
Because I don't know.
It would have to be the
what
game
makes you think LSU can run the football? Like, it's happened in spurts, but I don't know.
I mean,
it's like so hit or miss, and it makes no sense.
I mean, at this point, too, like, you don't usually put too much of new plays, if you will, like, into the thing. But I've been yelling this for a while all season, for a large part of the season. But you got to start sticking in the stomach, get that extended run game out there and these short screens and stuff like that, and start running that, using that as your extended run game. Because if we can't traditionally do it, there needs to be ways where we can just start stealing these 4 to 6 yards out of you and start making these second and manageable that much more manageable, second or third and short that much better. Because I think that helps you a lot. Because now if I can get 6 on first and I'm sitting there in this situation, I can take shots on second down when I make you think that we're going to run it. I can stick it in the stomach, play action, and go and play on you like that.
Yep. I'm glad you said that, right? Because Brian Kelly said something similar in his press conference when they were talking about the running game and what he needs to do. He says, I think we have guys like Aaron Anderson, Mason Taylor, even Kyron Lacy has been big for us on third down. He goes, we got to be more consistent across the board, creating a little bit more uncertainty in terms of what we are doing, right? Making sure we can get the ball to the playmakers, including the screen game, misdirection, and the run game to create some uncertainty. So basically what you said, right? Like, that's what needs to happen is, hey, some uncertainty, some screen game, some misdirection. Hey, we're going this way. No, actually, we're going that way. Oh, they got us. We haven't had a lot of that, right? And I think doing that, it keeps the defenders and it keeps the guys that are flying to the football It holds them back a step because they're not sure.
You get them to hesitate one step.
Right.
That's all you need.
And that's all you need. And now all of a sudden, the block that he's been getting around and he's been getting inside, you're not being able to reach and get around him. Now you are, and now you've been able to seal him off. And boom, Caden Durham gets inside of him and runs for 15 yards. Right, like a lot of times, and I haven't watched the film. I wish we had the opportunity to watch the film and break it down. A lot of times on these running plays, it's probably one guy or two guys on any given play that these running plays get blown up.
At this level of ball, it's pretty
Right.
much that.
Right.
You know? Like that's kind of what happens all the time. So when you think it's, oh my God, we're getting so stomped that you might have 5 guys on the line, 4 of them actually got their job done, got their block, won their block, and the next one just couldn't get his head on the right side.
Right. And then, that guy blew it up, and all of a sudden there's nowhere to go because that's the hole he needs to go to. And you can't have these running backs just going rogue and trying to go all which way. You can't do it in college. You can't say, I'm supposed to go this. I'm going through this gap, but this is I see his block, so I'm just going to try to just cut all the way back outside. You can't outrun anybody. That doesn't work. So, as bad as the running game is, and like I said, I haven't watched film, so I don't know if this is going to be an accurate statement, but for as bad as the running game is, I bet you if you looked at it and you're like, and you listen to the coaches and they talked you through what the blocking scheme is, you'd be like, damn, we're really not that far off. And I firmly believe. So you say, how do you fix the running game? Hey, just have more plays where you're not getting beat.
Yeah, because I'm about to say,
Yeah,
if we've been not that far off
Right.
for this many games,
Right.
then we need to find something that's not that the same of what we've been doing.
Right,
Let's
exactly.
change it up a little bit.
Exactly. To make it easier. Hey, let's figure out how to get this guy in a better position so that we can get this hole open.
There's one really clear answer. It's just not happening.
What is that?
The quarterback to keep one.
Yeah, but that's
Completely different. We're not talking about scrambling. Look,
No, I'm not talking about scrambling.
We
you
talking
should
about
be,
pulling
because
it?
what I'm telling
Talking
you,
about pulling it?
But what I'm telling you is he's not gonna. That's not what he does.
That's not his game.
Even if he does it, listen. At this time of the year, he's gonna have to.
He is who he is.
No, but I'm saying he's gonna have to do it 4 to 5 times in this game for people to even start respecting it. I don't think that's gonna happen because we've only seen him do it one time
Do you think-
all season.
Do you think that they've been saving it?
No.
No,
Dude, you can't say, we're going to save it for all these other hard teams we played.
I'll be honest with you. If they had been saving it, then you also would have seen him scramble more. Guys that know how to run the football, they're going to run the football when they get a chance.
What if Nuss, at the end of the game, you look at a stat line, it's 10 rushes for 75 yards.
15 carries, outrushes Milrow.
10 rushes, 75 yards, and a touchdown.
And what I'll tell you is right now, you better go hammer the over on whatever that prop is because you'll make a lot of money.
Can you imagine him running for 75 yards?
Yes, I can
can't.
because I'm an idiot. But
Can't. Now, he can run for 30 yards, 6 carries for 30 yards, 5 carries for 30 yards would be great.
I think you got a better chance of him going
Run for 70.
2 carries for 30
30.
yards
Yeah.
than 6 carries for 30.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's got more.
But,
of a
I
chance
want him to pull it down and try to run a few times. Not a lot. It doesn't have to be a lot.
No,
it doesn't have to
first
be a
downs.
focus
first
point.
downs.
Yeah.
I want
Right.
to get addicted to it. I want to
3
see
first downs.
Vanilla Vic get 25 carries.
Hey, he's got some moves, though, when he got in the end
That's
zone.
what's shocking to me. Don't get it.
He's got some moves in
He's
there.
an athlete.
Man, we got all week to talk about this.
I'm getting nervous already. My brother's coming in town, booked his flight. I don't know when the game's
Oh,
going to be
boy.
because they're. Yeah, I know.
No, the
The
Hurricanes.
Courtney family is going
It's-
to be losing it.
it's not gonna be-
It's supposed to, like he's never done this before. He's never missed an entire football season, so this is going to be a disaster.
Oh boy.
It's not going to be
get kicked out.
You're about to talk about the Hurricane?
Yeah.
It's not going to be a Hurricane.
Here's already texted me. Go. What if they move the game to 9 a.m.? I go. What if they move it to 9 p.m.?
It's not going to be a Hurricane, and they're not going to move the game. Because if the weather does come, it's going to be early in the morning. No, we're good. And positivity, Lloyd. You missed the first part of the show whenever you're going to take a leak. But
Nice.
positivity. If you exude the positivity out there and you say it's going to stay away and we're going to have a perfect Saturday,
Like Happy Gilmore.
that's going to happen. Perfect Saturday. Yeah. Was it feel the flow?
Feel the flow.
Feel the flow.
Block
Feel
out.
the flow.
Block out the energy.
Block out the energy. Feel the flow. Block out the energy.
What are you doing? Happy
Feel
riding a
the
damn bull?
He did not feel the flow.
Mr. Gilmore, your caddy.
Happy Gilmore too. Can't wait. Don't know how it's gonna be.
I trust.
Me too. Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Me too.
He wouldn't make it bad. If it could get scrapped. If he doesn't like it,
Could get scrapped.
I
As
trust
it-
him to make a good one.
No
Aside
doubt.
from don't mess with the Zohan. I think that's probably his worst one.
Yeah. Let's recap the weekend a little bit. before we get to the back half of the show, what you got something else you want to talk about?
No, that's what I wanted to talk about. This Ohio State,
So-
Penn State.
I do want to mention something before we get into that.
Okay.
Everybody that's been tailing us, or everybody that's been with us on these parlays, listen, hand
Apology.
up. I'm sorry. We're all sorry. It wasn't that we tried to make you go 0 for 3. It was the only time all year we've gone 0 for 3. We're still winning. We needed this. We needed this as a team for us to get back on the horse. Sometimes the best learning experiences come after a loss.
I've never felt more confident about a parlay, too. I loved every pick we put in. I didn't say it like that because I didn't want to jinx it, but I thought that was a for sure fucking winner.
You know what started? It started because of Duke. It was Duke's fault. Because Duke was the first game, right? Weren't they the first game?
Yes.
Duke was the first game, and they were up, and they were 20.5-point dogs, and they were up going into the fourth quarter,
You're winning outright.
and they lose. And they don't cover.
It was 21-17, and you're catching 20.5, so that would make it 41.5 to 17 with 15 minutes left of football. And not only do you not win, you don't cover.
And you saw it happen. You're like, oh no, this is not good.
And then I thought when you texted me, like we were all in the group chat, you're like, my phone went off again, like maybe backdoor cover, and I was like, I'm not gonna check again until.
And I said, never mind.
And that I thought it was gonna be like, oh, like maybe a good text, like, oh shit, they busted one. And I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. And it was like, nope, never mind. I was like, fuck, dude. God
So they
damn.
were there.
When you lose the first one, you're like,
I know. It didn't matter at that point. So
Well,
it's
I know.
okay. If we're gonna lose all 3, let's do the first one. You might as well just lose all 3 because it doesn't matter. Right now, it does matter when you bet them all individually, like I did. So
that's 3 losers.
That's 3 losers. That's not what you want to have. But Duke was driving. Like Duke got the ball, and like they had like gotten a 2 or 3 first downs. I think they had like a penalty. And I was like, oh shit! And then like
The wheels fell
I was at walk-ons actually, and I went.
Oh, big walk-on
I went to the
guy.
bathroom. Yeah, me and the father-in-law.
Oh, not the boat.
We had a couple beers, and not the boat. It was raining. It was not good weather to go out on the boat. And so watched the game, had some lunch.
Chicken tenders?
So I go take a leak. No, had a burger. It's great.
With chicken tenders.
No chicken tenders.
Buffalo Bites was the appetizer.
Nope.
Hey, y'all got some
I
chicken
almost
tenders?
did it though. I almost did Buffalo Bites. I didn't do it. But I go take a leak, come back, look up, 4th and 18. I'm like, damn.
Nope.
That's when I said, never mind.
Never mind.
Never mind.
But yeah, that's on us.
So that's on us. Navy, they had a bunch
With
of rain
that
delays.
said-
With that said, we'll be back on the winning ways this week.
Those two of our picks lost by a combined 2 points, so not that far off.
Yeah.
But it was.
We were close.
We were closer
Right.
than you think, just being losers.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're losers.
Yeah, and that's okay. We'll be back. I almost had a great weekend. I mean, the first half of the first games, Lloyd, to the point where Lloyd texted me, he goes, man, you must be your account
Elated.
must
Every
be
game you
great."
mentioned, they were up by double digits. Like, he must be crushing
And
right
then
now.
they
And it
all
fell
just
apart.
fell apart on me. But ended up not having an awful week. It wasn't a great week, but it wasn't awful.
I killed, cleared triple digits. So it was good.
Oh, you won triple digits this weekend. Good for you. So you had a good weekend.
Well, I was live betting.
Oh, see, I was not.
I need to get you on that. You need to start. Like, when you see,
I know.
Turmoil.
when you
Yeah.
see ACLs on the field, you got to start slamming
Yeah.
that. Let's get to the Caesars Sportsbook app or whatever app that wants to sponsor us. Technically, whoever wants it.
Whoever wants it.
Whatever
Didn't you have
app.
a problem with Caesars not having a certain lineup?
Yeah, I did, and I still do. And I also have a problem with their search bar function.
Yeah. You try to tell them early on. Early on. It should be easier to search for the bets.
Yeah, it's like they don't want you to gamble.
Yeah. Like, why you want me to look? Why don't you just give me a search? Let me just search it.
Because there's other apps out there. I've been on FanDuel.
And without having to go back 3 screens. Let me just scroll to the top, search bar. Like the internet.
Just like the
Like
internet.
a Google. Like Google.
They want you to scroll across some other ones. Well, I kind of like this one too. Let me get.
Do you know how much more I'd bet if I could Google it, like search it?
Sometimes I don't bet because, like, damn, I don't want to find it. I don't want to do whatever. Then they need to make it voice activating and say, hey,
Sounds
listen,
like we just need to go to the casino.
I want to do. You go to the sports book and you say on your app, you say, I want LSU +3 or LSU with the spread,
Money line
money line, over on
and the over, which is what I've already done.
Rumor is that the Kansas City Chiefs have been hot and heavy on the trails of Marshawn Lattimore, and that they should have conversations to start heating up tomorrow.
Tell you what.
What would you get? Like,
we
Isn't it fun when you
quit doing them favors?
Isn't it fun when teams that are owners really try to win and they
Like
just go out
year
there
in and year out,
every
too?
year? Hey, you know
Not
what?
like we got enough. I know we're 7-0, but we don't have enough.
Oh, we're gonna go and we're gonna get a wide receiver, and then we're gonna go sign some cornerbacks, and then we're just gonna keep adding.
Not, hey, Pat, we gave you all this money. You go figure it out. Nah, we.
Yeah. Oh, we'll draft. Oh, by the way, we're gonna draft you the fastest guy in the history of the.
Oh, he's not
combine.
good
Oh, we're gonna
enough?
trade up to get him too.
He's not good enough.
Not
Yeah.
good enough. He just scored a touchdown.
Hey, he's not good enough yet. Yeah, we'll go get you another receiver.
Like
Oh
they
wait,
have him out-
we got the best defense in the league, and we're not stopping enough people. Let's go get us another corner.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'll do it.
that's fun.
Respect it.
I have him anytime
respect those
touchdown.
moves.
They,
With
called,
him?
they called him out at one.
He's out of bounds.
Oh, it's not even a catch.
Yeah, he's
Oh!
out. Not even a catch.
Oh, did he, did his
That's not
first-
Michael
catch.
Jackson.
Did his
That
first step?
second foot's on the line for sure, and the
Oh,
first
that
one.
one's out of the line.
No.
Damn.
Both
Rookie.
of them are.
Good. Do it again.
Damn.
out.
But yeah, they're trying to go. But that was a rumor on Twitter, according to Schefter. So that's pretty
They're
good rumor.
trying.
Pretty good rumor. Wow, here's another conversation. Ross Dellinger.
Oh, wow. Here it is. Adam Schefter said he thinks the Chiefs could be involved in trade talks for Marshall and Lattimore tomorrow. He said the Saints have gotten multiple calls on him.
Thank you. You thought I was lying.
At Cat Terrell. I didn't think you were lying.
Ross Dellinger. Maybe the most intriguing placement in the college football committee's rankings tomorrow. Ready for this?
Who? Where?
Washington State. Cougars are 7-1 with wins over 5-4 Big Ten team UW, 6-3 Big 12 team Texas Tech, and their only loss is at number 12 Boise. Is only eligible for one of the 7 at-large spots.
You just can't keep the Belichicks out of championship talk, huh?
Forgot about them.
Steve's there.
7-1.
Bill's there.
Washington.
Bill's there enough. Just put it like that.
Washington State
No
just
whistle.
sneaking in there.
No whistle.
Sneaking in there.
Washington State. There's some other teams that Iowa State went down. Bang. Bye.
Did I tell
See
you?
ya. Yeah,
Did
I
I
know.
not-
That's why I was like, dude, Mikey's all over these things.
I took Iowa State, but Iowa State won outright. I didn't bet a money line.
They lost.
I mean,
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech won outright. I took Texas Tech plus
This is
12
7
and a half or
degrees
whatever it
of
was.
Mike Leach right now.
It was like plus 12 and a half. I didn't take a money line, but I took that. But yeah, I just felt like Texas Tech's not a bad team, right? And
They score.
Iowa State really hasn't. They've just been teetering. And
There
Texas
it
Tech
went.
did it.
Later. See you.
Yep. BYU seems like they're going to go undefeated.
Notre Dame.
They're probably not going to lose again.
Clemson.
Unless USC somehow figures out to play football again.
No, they're. We're not talking about them ever again.
Yeah, they stink.
Not on
That's
this
such a bad-
podcast.
that's
Not in my
such-
life.
That's turned such a bad loss. God, it sucks.
God, if you win that one, you just look so much better right now.
Yeah.
Record wise, at least. I don't think it wouldn't do much for you in the national.
No, but record-wise, no doubt.
Record wise, you just look so much better.
No doubt.
It-
No doubt. That's tough. Tough.
I hate them.
Changes the whole season.
I can't believe you lost to those cowards.
But
Do you think Lincoln Riley gets fired?
No, I don't. They paid a lot of money to get him there. They ain't whacking like that yet.
yeah,
I don't.
boy, they got really.
I
good
hate
luck.
him.
He can't win.
He's
You remember when the fan base here was like, that's who we really wanted as a fan base? I was never on that train, but he was the hot name that people were like,
Oh, yeah.
why are we not getting him?
Thank God we get him. Thank God we get Tom Herman.
Todd.
Is
That's
it
what I
Todd?
call him. No, that's just what I call
Oh,
him.
I was like, I thought
Oh, he wanted to fight. Did you see that?
Yeah, who was it?
Tom.
No,
Herman,
who was he trying to fight though?
the other coach. I don't know. The guy that had a weird hat on that said Edge.
Yeah, we wanted him. Didn't get him. He went to Texas. That
Mensa
didn't work
member.
out. That didn't work out.
No.
No. But
It's so funny how it all kind of worked out for LSU a little bit.
it did. We won a national championship because of it.
The two just did
And
it
then,
all happen.
And then you kind of, but we're coming back up. Ride the ship, sort of. Riding in the ship.
Because that's what I think that it probably feels the same way in Miami.
What do you mean?
Like with their coach. Like you get a quarterback, look how good we are. You're also the same guy that refuses to take a knee. Like, let's see what happens when Cam Ward leaves.
Yeah, do they have, I don't even know if they have anybody. Does Miami go undefeated?
I hope so.
I know. Jared has a good point on why.
I like to see him go undefeated because if you end up playing, I mean, who's the number 2 team in the ACC right now? Clemson?
Well, I guess it would be.
SMU?
SMU?
Yeah, SMU.
Whoever it is, I guess my point is whoever it is, like, if they end up getting to the conference championship game, whoever it is. You play a decent game, which I feel like everybody's played a decent game against Miami, at least score-wise and relative to what they're doing, right? There is a large case for you to be able to get into the college playoffs. Whereas I feel like, if you beat them, there is a large case for you to be in the college playoffs. Now we got 2. I would rather Miami just went out and only one team make it from that conference for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, like if SMU runs the table until they get there, there's obviously still a good conversation. But somebody like Clemson who just got their doors blown off, I don't want to see them have to play them because there's a conversation for them.
So Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and at Syracuse the last 3 games of the season for Miami. Right? I mean, look, I can't say anything because like Duke kept it pretty tight for a while. Cal almost beat them. Cal should have beat them.
Louisville should have beat them.
Everybody
that's played Miami should have beat them by this point.
It's them and SMU and Clemson right now. That's the 3 teams sitting at the top. Louisville's got 2 losses already, even though they just blew the doors off of Clemson. But my point is if Clemson gets back and beats them, there's a strong conversation for 2 teams, even though they got their doors blown off by Louisville. They got their doors blown off by Georgia. It'd be hard to keep them out if they just beat a team that's probably going to be in there with 1 loss. So I would rather them just kind of run the table, and you don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
Because they'll take a spot from probably another team that should be in somewhere.
Agreed. It's gonna be wild. There's a lot of things that still happen.
You know what's crazy is Colorado is still out there.
In the Big 12, yeah, they are. The Big 12 is kind of wide open right now, man.
BYU.
Yeah, BYU seems like they're gonna be the one to win it because they're undefeated. Do they have anybody else? They got at Utah. They got 4 games left. At Utah, Kansas, at Arizona State versus Houston.
Here's the thing why I don't. So when I think about teams that seems like they're gonna be the one to win it, for me,
you never know.
No. Just for me, it's got to be someone who you pegged and you saw that roster as that good to start the year. If you're the team that we didn't see as that good to start the year, and all of a sudden you're making it happen, I still feel like there's a chance of you getting your ass whipped any game. Yeah. Right. So like that's why I'm not. Look, BYU could easily go run the table. Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't sit here right now today seeing. Yeah, I think they'll probably run the table. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
That whole conference has been kind of flip-flopping and doing whatever. We'll see.
Show me the person that said BYU 2024 national champion. I'll show you a liar.
Exactly.
No doubt.
No doubt.
They're not going to win national championship.
But the closer you get.
That's what the issue was, the Big 12. Like, that is the conference that.
And by the way,
that may not be that as good as the other teams sneak in because the Big 12 is not as good as the other conference.
And this is how loud the conversation is.
And they stink.
Lost 7-6 straight.
SMU right now back in the ACC is 5-0 in conference, and they only got 1 loss in the season. You know who that loss is to?
Who's this?
SMU.
Who's that?
BYU by 3 points, 18-15. So like the conversation is going to be loud.
Both those teams score.
It is going to be loud at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's right. 18.
It was a week 3 game, so it was pretty early.
Game. Nobody gave any of the
like nobody looked
week
at
3. Nobody gave a shit.
When
about
I
that
told
game.
you when we get to
Thanksgiving,
when we get to Thanksgiving, nobody on earth thought we'd be looking back to week 3 SMU against BYU as possibly what either keeps in and or keeps out some teams of the playoffs.
That's the linchpin of the season right there. Because I watched every fucking snap of Ohio State and Penn State, and I never once was happy.
I'm glad you brought that up.
They're terrible.
That game was
bad ball.
That was a question you sent a text. Is this good defense or bad ball? It made me think about it. It didn't seem like it was great football. It seemed like it was sloppy and it wasn't well run, and it was who's gonna make the mistake last to lose. And then Penn State decided
it looked like 2A high school football.
They decided not to get any points inside the 5-yard line 2 times, and that's what lost the game.
Yep.
Ohio State also decided to fumble out the back of the end zone for a touchback. Like there was not one part of that game that made me walk away good. I literally was like, this is the 3rd and 4th ranked team in the country, and one of those motherfuckers are going to get in the playoff.
Now they're talking about, is it Aller?
Drew Aller.
Is it Aller? Aller? It's Aller.
Aller Ogba.
They're having him projected in the 1st round.
He's terrible.
I know.
Do you want to hear his numbers? Because I love to look him up.
They haven't projected. Like last mock draft I saw, I don't know.
He's
reported
higher than us.
Rated him as a 7th overall pick.
Oh, now he's hurt.
Is he getting like the Will Levis, J.J. McCarthy kind of treatment?
More the J.J. McCarthy than Will Levis, because Will Levis had at least had the, oh, this guy's a freak athlete. J.J. McCarthy was the, hey, we're going to run a pro style offense. We're not going to rely on you at all. But you ran it and you won, and so we just think you're good.
I think he's another one, like the big arm, and I think
think
about it like that.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 235.
Yeah,
so like
he's a big dude.
So, okay, so basically
And you
the
suck.
same of the –
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, is he getting that treatment? That's
Yes.
what I'm
It
saying,
seems like.
All the hype in the world to go 11 of 17. No, that was the first game of the year. That was actually good. 12 of 20 for 146 yards and an interception. That's Anthony Jennings.
Yeah, the Big Ten, the Big Ten has kept the old school football alive, hasn't it?
It really has.
Like,
It really has.
It's
outside of Indiana.
I feel like you got to sit on those guys a lot to really see the potential in
Yeah.
them. Because
draft
same
him.
thing with McCarthy and all those guys. Like, it's
Right.
they don't put up the numbers for the most part. I won't say they. That's very wrong of me to say that, because if you think about the C.J. Strouds and guys like that, and
Right.
Justin Fields, they threw for good yardage. But like some of these guys that are coming from that conference that are not putting up the big numbers and still getting that kind of
Right.
being touted that way, like
And that's
you have to
Ohio
sit
State.
on them there.
That's really Ohio State probably was the only one.
We
that
haven't
had
really
the
seen
offense.
Michigan quarterbacks put up numbers like that in a long time.
No, right.
Penn State quarterbacks
Penn State
in a
has
long
not. Penn State's going
time.
to beat you with defense. And they're going to run the football.
Yeah.
And they're going to have one good receiver and a really good running back, and a quarterback who is going to be gritty and probably run the football or not make any mistakes. That's what.
Josh Rosen's better than Drew Aller.
Well, Josh Rosen was drafted in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Josh Rosen, wasn't he a top 3 pick?
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't he like that high?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, UCLA. Watch out now.
Yeah.
Had a hot tub in his room.
Yeah, Big Ten's holding on strong to the old school football.
12 of 20 for 146 and an interception. And then I had to listen to Gus Johnson, who I do like,
I like Gus.
but he couldn't make that game exciting. He's like, look at this big athlete. And I was like, well, use him. He needs to run it more or do something. He stinks.
No,
I want him to win because I want LSU to play Penn
It
State and
sounds
beat
like
the
Lloyd
shit.
had some other money on this game
I
that he's not
didn't.
telling us about.
You know
I
what
was mad because I
did?
didn't gamble on it. I was like, I'm just watching this for no reason.
You know what I did like watching though? That number 44, their tight end's a baller, dude.
Leading rusher.
He's a leading rusher.
They
He
put him
they
on
put him at
watching.
quarterback. Like that guy's a baller, dude. He's gonna be a monster.
He
in
had the
NFL.
rubber elbow pads.
He's going to be somebody's tight end that's a
Yeah.
dog in the league.
Billingsley. Is it
Party at Taylor's house.
Remember the Titans?
No, it's
he's
Friday
a
Night
player.
Lights.
I mean Friday Night Lights. That's what I meant. Friday Night Lights.
Billingsley, party.
Billingsley.
A little fumble.
But like that guy's gonna be good in the NFL.
Yeah.
He was a high school quarterback.
No, yeah. Well, he should be their real
Did
quarterback.
you see the film of him playing basketball?
Oh, he's a stud basketball player. Yes.
Oh, like
Yeah.
Showtime, like
Yeah, baller.
Liftoff, like
Yeah, baller. Baller. Yeah, that guy's gonna make
Not
make a
just
lot
on
of
the
money.
court like playing like pick and roll basketball,
like posterizing people.
yeah.
The guy's gonna make a lot of money in the NFL.
Yeah.
Will Howard, 16 of 24 for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Just say you
interception.
don't like watching Big Ten football.
Indiana. That's the only offense right now that
I
I
thought
watch.
they scored.
Just say you don't like watching it.
14 carries for 95 yards from Quinshawn Judkins. They just stopped giving him the football.
I think the last 2 or 3
11
games
plays.
before that,
He didn't
he
play
didn't clear 30 yards in either one of those games.
until you needed him. They ran it the last 11 plays of the game.
Where at Penn State?
Yeah, Ohio State. They're like,
Ohio
yeah,
State did.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough
That
one.
was
That was the
fucking
marquee game. It ended up being a good game,
No.
I guess. At the end of the game, like score wise, like it's gonna come down to the wire, but not good football. Not great.
I'll never do that again.
There was a lot of sloppiness last weekend.
You'll be right back at it next Saturday.
No
If
doubt.
it's at 11 o'clock, you'll be knocked.
No doubt.
You
What
won't
is
be
next
you won't be
week's-
home doing it, but you'll be locked in.
What is next week's slate? Like Oregon, Michigan. These teams stink. Michigan's terrible. Oregon
Michigan's
is
not
the
good.
number 1 team in the country. I'm not sure they are. And Dylan Gabriel's going to win the Heisman?
I'm not 100% sure on Oregon either, actually. But
SMU's good.
so you sure on SMU?
I'll bet the over.
Yeah.
So 11 a.m. next week, Florida, Texas. We'll watch.
Next
Purdue,
week?
Ohio
Are we
State.
talking about this weekend?
Yeah, I'm talking about
This coming weekend.
on
This
Saturday.
Yeah.
Purdue, Ohio State. I really put a gun in my mouth. Army, North Texas. I might watch.
Yeah, you can bet
Georgia,
the
Ole
over on that.
Miss. Yes, definitely. Georgia Ole Miss. I'm
Of
interested
course.
to see what happens.
Yep, that's a 2:30 game.
That's two big ones. I like that.
Yeah.
Wait, is that 2:30 or is it?
That's a 2:30. Remember, that's the Lane Kiffin got mad.
Why did you just say it was early? I think you just said those were. I thought you were just calling the 11 o'clock games.
I was, and then I went on to the 2:30 games.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you ask Lane Kiffin, he was like, "Oh, who got the night game? LSU. That's 2 for 2 for them." He just goes, "Whatever."
Whatever. Well, it worked out. I'm glad we got it.
Still got a cannon. Michigan, Indiana.
Indiana's
Indiana's going to end up winning this whole thing, I hope.
Indiana's gonna blow their doors off. I hope so.
Me too.
For Signetti.
If it's not LSU, I hope it's Indiana.
For Signetti. I want Signetti to keep this beautiful run going. All right.
Hold on.
Okay.
Real quick, I'm going to look at, if you want to gamble.
Gamble. We have all week to talk gamble.
I know, but you can get an Indiana future on to win the conference, and it's like crazy odds.
Is that you have to win the championship game?
Plus 650. Like, that's worth the sprinkle.
Was it Oregon's minus what?
110, OSU plus 100. Like, good luck to those teams. I'd rather bet on Indiana.
Does Indiana play the big dogs?
They got
play
one. I think Ohio State,
right?
Yeah.
Yep, Ohio State the week after Michigan. And then they end against Purdue.
Yeah, they play Purdue this week.
No, Indiana plays Purdue at the end of the season. I'm talking about Indiana.
Oh, yeah. Indiana,
Yeah.
Ohio State, and then Michigan, Ohio State.
Hey, I'm going to say this. There hasn't been one close game that Indiana's played.
No, they've been blowing the doors off of everybody.
31-7, 77-3. Now that was Western Illinois. 42-13, 52-14, 42-28. Maryland was probably the closest. Northwestern 41-24. Nebraska supposed to be upset city maybe 56-7. Washington 31-17. Michigan State sleepy. Michigan State at Michigan State kind of dangerous. 47-10. Right? Washington 31-17 with no quarterback. Their starting quarterback not out. Not playing. With the backup. 31-17. In the 7th, I think the Washington scored a trash touchdown at the end of the game. They're blowing people's doors off.
They were down 10-0 against Michigan at Michigan. Against Michigan State at Michigan State, 10-0 in the first quarter. Come back and score 21, 12, and 14 and hold you to 0. They were wagging. And we were on them early.
Yep. And I'd imagine what's at Ohio State. I was hoping they already went to Indiana this year, so they'd probably be at Ohio State in 2 weeks.
God, please.
Also, speaking of people that could slip up, don't sleep on Tennessee having to go to Nashville. Last game of the season.
Don't sleep on LSU having to go. Well, I guess
they come at home. Yeah, they come at home. I know.
Thank God.
I know. That's what I said. I know. They're playing them here. We don't have to go to Nashville. But Tennessee does. I would go. Tennessee's going to Nashville. That's a tough one.
I agree.
People don't come out of
Vandy
Nashville.
keeps winning.
People don't come out of Nashville with many wins. And if they do, you're fighting, you're clawing and scratching. You're just begging to get out of there.
You may have won the game, but you probably lost the weekend.
Hit Texas. Almost lost. Did they lose? Vandy didn't beat. Did Vandy beat Texas?
No, they beat Alabama.
They almost
beat
did.
Texas.
They almost beat
Texas. They almost beat Texas. Duh.
And then they bounced back and win again.
Yeah.
Like, no quit.
17-7.
Not a fluke. Not a flop.
Not a fluke.
People would say I was a flop.
I'm a Vandy homer now. I love Vandy.
That quarterback's a stud.
Yep. All right.
Ryan Day saved his job, I guess.
Dyed his beer.
God, it looks awful, doesn't it?
Terrible.
Did he really dye the beard?
I mean, I don't know. It looks like he dyes it.
Oh, you talking about?
It looks like
as
Pinocchio.
is,
Yeah, it looks like
dark.
it looks. Yeah, it
It's
looks like
dark.
He dyes it.
Very dark.
Dark. All right, let's get to the segments.
He looks like such a loser. I couldn't take him seriously ever.
Brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. You got one?
Let's see if I have a mistake of the day. I put one in here, and I do have one pulled up right now, and I will use it because there was Ohio State who works at Barstool Sports. He went to his first SEC game of his life, and boy, did he get to see the full everything because there was 4 fights around him, and he recorded them, and he's like, "It does just mean more here, I think."
What game was it?
Georgia, Florida.
Okay. Largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah, and they were hammered. And look at these police just
Oh,
beating
dude,
the shit
I
out of
saw
people.
this.
Yeah.
Why are the police beating everybody?
I don't know, but it's electric.
I mean,
Wow.
that's what we're supposed to be doing as the police, huh?
I mean, why are we doing that?
What?
Look how old
Are
this
they?
man
I mean, are they just wearing
This
costumes,
guy is
or-
sitting on 3
Look
rows.
how old he is.
This got to be Halloween costumes. There ain't no way that's real police, huh?
Why are we doing that?
That can't. That's
And this one of these guys.
This
got,
guy is hammering in the back of the head with his. What are we doing here? Then the other guy in the frat guy is laying down over 3 rows. You're getting stuck back there.
that ain't it.
It just needs more.
Wow.
They said. So the rule is apparently if you touch around a cop's waistline, like grab the gun, you're allowed to do whatever you want. And so they said this man went touched his waist and got the shit kicked out of you. Just means more.
Wow.
That's aggressive.
That's
That was
aggressive.
aggressive. And he got tased.
How many waistlines he got close to? I mean, a couple of them got beat, bro.
Oh, there's your mistake of the day.
Can I give another mistake of the day?
Sure.
How many of y'all knew that the Gold Glove announcement was on Sunday night?
I actually saw it on the bottom line. I didn't know. I didn't hear any. I saw the bottom line. I was like, oh, wow. Such and such.
You know who won one?
Great move. Huh?
You know who won one?
Who?
It's going to be my curtain call.
Well, high school. I mean, it was a college. I mean, it was minor league ball.
No.
No.
There's
This
somebody
is
else.
real.
Somebody else dealing with this place 1-1 too.
Who?
Exactly.
Alex Bregman.
That's
Oh, Bregman won one.
yeah.
Forgot about Bregman.
Today.
Yeah.
I guess.
We didn't know. No, it was yesterday. They show it during NFL football, right in the middle of it, just so you don't know what's going on. And I was scrolling, trying to
Act like it's a chore.
It was Red Zone had just ended, so I was going to Football Night in America. So I was going to change the channel, and I was like, "Oh, the Rawlings Gold Glove announcement award ceremony is going on right now." Wow, I had no idea. And I'm a baseball guy. I had no clue what was going on right now. That's great. These guys played 162 games plus playoffs, and they played really hard. Let's honor these guys without just being a secondary thing.
Was there anybody actual on site for the awards
No.
ceremony?
No.
So with that being the case, obviously during the fall, Saturdays are taken, Sundays are taken, Monday nights taken. Why wouldn't you just take a Tuesday or Wednesday and do the Zoom call and do the announcements then? Make sure you get some actual pub for it.
And promote it.
Why don't we put it on TV and show the highlights of the players?
That would be cool, too.
Hey, look, the Gold Glove means they're the best defender at the position.
Why don't you do it during the World Series?
So I bet you it'd be cool for them to show that, hey, look how good this guy was defensively. Look how many plays he made. No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
Then they have an award called the Platinum Glove, which is the best defender of all positions.
All the 7
And they
seeds.
give that too.
I couldn't even tell you.
got
I don't even know who won it this
I
year.
couldn't even tell you who was in the running for it.
Me either.
That's not good.
I'd rather a gold glove than a platinum
And this
glove.
means this means the other awards are probably going to be coming out this week too that we don't even know about.
Silver Slugger?
Silver Slugger, there's a finalist came out for that. The MVP, the Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff I'd imagine is going to be coming out here soon, but you're not going to know about it. We'll let you know.
November 8th, they announced the platinum glove.
Okay, that is
You
Friday.
get one for the American League and one for the National League. Nolan Arenado won it 1, 2, 3, 4,
That's
5,
just-
6 years in a row.
That's just crazy to me. We do Gold Gloves on one night, end it with the Platinum Glove. Why is that a week later?
None of this makes sense.
That doesn't make any sense. There's only one award. You're not giving them at each position. Why?
I really would.
It's like high school.
It's crazy.
I really
High school
would
gets
like,
more pub.
I really would like to have a conversation. What is our thought process here?
There isn't much. They don't. I mean,
I'm telling you, they act like it's a chore.
whatever. It is, I think, at this point because the money's already been made. They don't really
They don't
care
care.
about doing this part of it.
Bullshit.
I'm glad y'all like it, though.
Anyway,
Bobby Witt.
that's another mistake. Bobby Witt's going to win probably. He didn't win the Silver Slugger
They won
imagine.
Gold Glove.
and a Gold Glove.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt's a baller.
Yeah, you can play.
He's a baller.
Ain't no doubt about it, cuz.
All right, curtain call brought to you by our friends at Perkins McKenzie. What we got, boys?
You want me to lead it off? I'll lead it off because I want to take it back. Lloyd, I sent it to you. It's in your email. But I'll take you back to week 13, 2021. There was a dress rehearsal for probably one of the greatest moves I've ever seen in my entire life, which we probably forgot about the dress rehearsal because it didn't go as good as the actual real game. But Saquon tried this shit before. If you missed it, Saquon Barkley jumped over a man backwards. Yes, backwards. And he actually did it successfully and gained more yardage. And I've never seen – I think about Odell's catch. Odell's catch started an epidemic of people doing one-handed catches and doing all this stuff. I still I can't see somebody trying this move next week and doing it again. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. And usually when we say shit like that, it's an hyperbole. That didn't really actually happen. We've seen stuff like this before. I've never seen someone get jumped over backwards before.
Unbelievable.
That's another one of the best athletes in the world, grown men that got jumped over backwards.
And
One
this
of
is
probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
This
on the
isn't
field.
something that you practice. This is all instincts.
All instincts.
All instincts. Well, you're
His
showing.
practice was in week 13, 2021. That's where practice was.
Wait, show the. What, did they show it?
Yeah, it does. Show it, Lloyd.
I just got to reload it.
I didn't know that.
So this is what he tried.
Oh, he tried to do like
he
the
tried to go
like the
360.
Mortal Kombat
Oh, yeah.
360. I'm gonna kick you right there. Finish him. Finish him. Move.
He said,
right
all right,
there.
that one don't work. You just got to go straight backwards and
Yeah,
go
you just gotta
split
go
jump.
up. You gotta go up. You
with the
can't-
split.
Can't have that
Yeah.
way.
The first one's wild.
And here's the deal. Here's the craziest thing about this. This guy's not diving at his ankles. And he's not just bunny hopping. This guy's standing up, trying to make a tackle, 2 feet on the ground, and Saquon jumps over him backwards. Wild, dude. That's a
So
wild.
if you're
That's a
wondering-
wild.
That's a
Yeah,
wild
dude.
move.
My curtain call is to Saquon Barkley.
That
I've
shit
never
was so
seen
cool to see
anything.
live.
I saw it actually.
I was watching
We
it
talked
live,
about this. I
too.
saw it live. I had the 4-box going, and it just so happened my wife had her head down doing something. She wasn't paying attention to it. I mean, you're crazy. You need to chill. And this whole thing happens, and I grabbed the remote. I go, what did I just? There is no way I just saw that, and I had to single it out, run it back, play it 2 or 3 times because I couldn't believe I just saw that. Yeah,
That was
crazy. I don't even think the announcing crew realized what happened when they first saw it either. It was crazy when I saw it.
Yeah.
an
it's-
eclipse. I don't even know what this is.
Have y'all seen this Cooper Flag play basketball from Duke?
A very little bit last year.
Yeah.
He's a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the number 1 player that was coming out.
Yeah, he's like 7 feet. And he's a baller. Anyway, that's shout out to Saquon because that is
Next level.
next level.
The level.
My curtain call. I'm gonna let you be the last one, Lloyd.
Mine's sad.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Do you want to end it on a sad note, or is yours happy?
I mean, mine's just my.
I think I know what yours
I'll go
is,
for it.
Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
My curtain call is to New Orleans Saints doing what's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, it has nothing. I'm not talking ill will on anyone, but it was necessary to happen, and it was a move that needed to be made to move the organization forward, and I'm glad they did it.
Yep, we'll see. Who else? We'll see what's
We'll see
next.
what happens.
Curtain call.
Coach season's fun though. Like trying to.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see what's out there.
This will be the first time you get somebody that has no ties to the regime before. So now you're bringing in new blood. Anyway, go ahead.
Could have had Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Curtain call to Ben. Kirk Herbstreit's
Uh-huh,
dog.
I just saw
Very
that.
sad.
Yeah.
I've had so many people ask me about Ben that I wanted to let you know Ben had his second chemo injection on October 23rd, and from that day has been getting worse and worse. He has lost use of his back legs, almost like they're paralyzed. He can barely walk. He hasn't eaten in 3 days. I'm currently in Pennsylvania with the holistic doctor who is administering a 3-day vitamin C IV. I don't know why I'm laughing at this.
Why are you laughing at
He
it?
will flush the toxins from his body and give him a chance. The next 24 to 48 hours will tell us if he has a chance or not. I'm so thankful for all
Damn.
the love so many have shown him over the last couple of years. One of the hardest things I've gone through in my life. Ben is my best friend and companion. I love him with all my heart. If you're a spiritual person, I'd love for you to pray for my boy.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know. He's currently in the ER hospital overnight, and
are
I'm
we
picking him up tomorrow for another round of vitamin C. Please pray for Ben and hope he pulls out of it.
Why are you laughing? Is this just a coping mechanism right now?
Yeah, like, what's going on over there?
Just so sad.
I mean, it's very sad. Being a dog owner, I would be very distraught if Kobe.
Was almost paralyzed.
Whenever Kobe goes through the time that he's gonna have to, whenever it's time to go meet his maker, I'm gonna be a very sad.
It won't
day.
be a good day.
No.
Dog owner myself. It won't
Yeah.
be a good day.
My
Not a good
dog's
day.
died.
That doesn't surprise me.
Cool Papa Bell.
Now you got a cat,
No, I got a cat, Tunchi.
and you're laughing at everybody else's dogs that are dying, which is not very nice by you.
Cool Papa does bring some rallies on, though. We do, if LSU starts to lose, there's a family tradition. We eat his ashes.
That's not true.
It is.
Coach, end the show.
Oh my God, that's not real.
It
You
works.
eat his ashes?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, we appreciate everybody tuning in
Shut it.
to our show tonight. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like watching us and you like listening to us from anywhere you get your pods, that was the most outrageous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. We'll be back live in studio on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. It'll be Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. We're obviously going to have a lot more conversation about this weekend. We're going to go deep dive into the LSU-Alabama matchups and what we like, what we don't like. Have some guests come in and talk. We'll have maybe our friend Fletcher come in here talking about what the pulse of New Orleans is right now and who's the front runner and what's going to happen. And Jay is brought up a really good point about all of the issues that the Saints have kicked down the road that are going to come to light whenever they
smarter
have.
about us.
Yeah,
Than us.
someone who knows a lot more about it than we do, potentially on Wednesday. We love y'all. We appreciate all the support. We'll be back on Wednesday. Enjoy your Monday. Peace.
Spay and neuter your pets.
It's better for them.